From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is The Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Adam Ray, and the author of You Can't Joke About That, Kat Timpf. Plus, we'll do some news with Chris Laxamana, and now he's got mixed feelings on the Bed Bath & Beyond bankruptcy. He loves beds, but not so much bathing. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice. We're going to mandate. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing. Saw the ratings went up the other week, so thank you for that. Chris Max Pattinson Studio.
Hello.
Adam Ray is going to be here in a couple minutes. Somebody said to me, you just start the podcast at the same time, and sometimes comedians are running late, and why don't you wait for them?
There's been a trend of that, yeah.
And I don't know. I don't have a perfectly logical answer other than, first off, there doesn't need to be consequences, but if we just sort of move around the start of the show, depending on the whims of whoever's supposed to come in, you're going down a road that you don't want to go down, number one.
Yeah, you want to set a precedent here.
Number two, although it just always stuck in my head, Danny Two Sheets Kellison told me and Jimmy when we were starting the Man Show many, many years ago, he said, you got to just run it like it's a live show. Just run it like it's a live show. And Jimmy and I were sort of like, well, yeah, but there's a fuck up. We can stop. Because the show was taped and then edited. Well, it wasn't really edited, but it was taped, but it would air 3 days later or a week later or something like that, or weeks later. I can't even remember sometimes how we do it. But the point is you could totally easily stop taping the Man Show in the beginning of the Man Show and go back and fix the line you flubbed or hit your mark in the right space or whatever. But he said, don't even think about that. Like, don't even think that there's an option that you can stop.
Yeah.
Just do it. You know what I mean? And I'd always stuck in my head, like, yeah, that is a better way to do a show. Do it like it's live, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then, look, if a lighting rig falls off the grid or something, then you can stop. But anything short of that, you just go. So
yeah, there's a certain energy when you're thinking in that mode of doing it live, and you don't get a bunch of retakes after. Like, it's just a smoother outcome, I think. And for the people who comment and tweet us, like, why are you starting the show? You can do this. Isn't the only thing we do. There are things after this show, and if we push back this show, then everything after, all the meetings, whatever, gets pushed back.
All right, now you sound defensive.
Yes. I am defensive.
All right, I got some panda news. I got some bird strike news. There's been bird strikes. And
bird strike news.
There's bird strike news. And something we got into a few months ago is why not put the cage in front of the intake of the jet engine? And I'll tell you something. Like, probably the most pragmatic industry, or one of them, is the airline industry. Like, they're operating on tight margins, and they're trying to be as efficient as humanly possible. And you guys may take umbrage with them for charging for extra bags or all the shit. I don't know. Look, all you assholes who think you have a God-given right to travel commercially for almost free, fuck right off. I just love it when the airline's like, well, you can do the first bag, but then the second bag, you're going to have to charge you. And everyone just gets outraged. Like, oh my God, I can't travel with 5 bags? This is insane. It's like, no, you can't. It's about weight. Weight burns more fuel, and fuel is super expensive. So if you would like to add some more weight to the plane, then you may pay for that. And everyone goes nuts. I never give a shit. It's their prerogative. But why no cages in front of the intake of the jet engine, which would prevent bird strikes, or at least limit them from flaming out the engine?
Like a screen or something.
Yes, the screen would cut down airflow, air intake into that jet engine by 1%. Now, it wouldn't be 25%. It might be 4%. But that 4% adds up super fast times 1 million commercial flights a year, right? And once you get above 3,000 feet, you don't need to worry about birds because birds don't go above 3,000 feet. And if you fly from New York to LA, you spend 15 minutes under 3,000 feet on takeoff and landing, and then the rest of the 5.5 hours is above 3,000 feet where there are no birds. So they did what we should have done with fucking COVID, which is go, all right, is there a risk of this? Yes, there is a risk of this. How big is the risk? What's the cost? How's it going to affect people? If we put the screens in front of the jet engines, we are going to have to pass that on to the customer in the form of less efficient fuel in flights. But it's only under the 3,000-foot ceiling, and it's pretty rare. See, we could have applied what the airline industry does to opening schools or closing churches or whatever it is. If we had sane people who ran a city and a state like a business, then that's what we would have done. But we have crazy shrews. And in that vein, I had this funny conversation. I was just talking to Dr. Drew, as we have daily conversations about what the fuck is going on and how did everyone go insane. And, the name of my next book is definitely going to be, I Never Thought Adults Would Be This Stupid, because we're now there. And so we're like talking about these horrible people like Randy Weingarten, who got ahead of Congress, was in front of Congress, and everyone's telling the revisionist history story, like, hey, we wanted to open schools. We just had to do it safely. And Fauci's doing the same thing. And, Garcetti, ex-mayor, Los Angeles, and Gavin Newsom stuff. And so Drew just kept saying, which is a topic of a common topic with us, which is like, are these people actually evil or are they just incompetent? And Drew and I were always like, I think they're just incompetent. Like, I don't know. Is Randy Weingarten, is she an evil person who hates kids, or is she just incompetent? Or is Gavin Newsom evil? No, he's not evil.
Is there anyone you think is truly evil?
He's not a bad guy. Well, someone like Randy Weingarten is beholden to the teachers' unions, and she will fuck kids on behalf of the union, so it makes her de facto evil. Doesn't make her old-fashioned evil.
Yeah.
But we're having this conversation like pets a cat while they talk. You know what I mean? Like that kind of evil.
Like a villain, a real
Strokes
villain. Yeah.
a cat while you talk. So we get about 10 minutes into this conversation of like, I don't think our ex-mayor Garcetti was a bad guy. He's just like incompetent. The ladies on the LA City Council board, they're not evil. They're not bad. They're not nefarious. They're just incompetent.
Sure.
So let's cut them a break, Drew. Let's just say they're incompetent. And then I paused and I went, Drew, what if someone was talking about you that way? Like, Drew's not a bad guy. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's just total incompetent. He's a boob. You know what I mean? So it's like, we're taking people who run huge states, run huge cities, run huge teachers unions and going, they're just wildly incompetent. Give him a break. I like that. I like that guy. He just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, I could imagine someone going, Adam's not an evil carpenter. He just doesn't know. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
He's just an idiot. He's an imbecile. It's okay.
Yeah, he'll frame a 6'8" door out at 6'6", but he's not because he's bad. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, I would be insanely insulted.
Sure.
He's not a evil comedian. He just not funny. He just doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah. We can't blame him. It's like, oh my God. If you couch it that way, like all the fucking idiots we're dealing with, where you're going, he's not bad. He just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's wildly incompetent. You're like, oh, so that's where we're at?
Yeah.
We just elect wild incompetence. Lori Lightfoot's not a bad person. She just doesn't know how to run a city. She just runs cities into the ground. Like, oh, okay. I don't know if that's flattering.
It's sad because you were sincere in thinking that before you had this.
We
thought,
were very sincere in trying to give. It'd be like if I was giving Dawson the benefit of the doubt by saying he's just a horrible sound engineer, but I like him. He's just wildly inept at engineering sound. But he's a good dude.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think he's a bad dude. I don't think he's a bad dude. He's just horrible.
He's just not good at
It's just whatever he does, he's horrible at.
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather take the fucking evil part than just a horrible carpenter.
Evil engineer.
Evil engineer.
I'll go for that.
All right. So there was that. There's panda news. Now China.
By the way, these screens. So somebody asked the Hartford Courier about these screens. Why aren't we doing these screens? Do you want to hear the answer?
Yes.
Screens to prevent birds from getting sucked into aircraft engines have been considered in the past and rejected for several reasons. The screen would have to be very sturdy and possibly very heavy. Airplanes are traveling about 170 miles per hour at takeoff. At that speed, a collision with a 10-pound Canada goose has the same force as dropping a 1,000-pound weight 10 feet.
Wow.
So the extra weight of a screen would decrease fuel efficiency, but the main reason is that screens would impede airflow in the engines, possibly causing an engine to shut down, and they could ice over. Airliners typically
icing
cruise
over.
at altitudes where temperatures are well below zero, so the ice, of course, would disrupt the airflow.
Yeah, that makes sense as well. All right, so in panda news, now, as you know, I have very strong thoughts about pandas. I have thoughts about China. I don't like all their terms. I don't like that they lease us these pandas for $500,000 a year, maybe $1 million a year.
It's a weird deal.
I don't like the fact that they get to name them. I don't like any of this stuff. And by the way, all they do in China is rip us off. All they fucking do is rip our intellectual property off. Like all the technology, all the computer shit, everything down to the Big Bertha golf club. They just take our shit and they rip it off. And we got to pay them through the nose for a fucking bear? A non-earning bear? It's like these bears, like we're getting a return on investment. I mean, yeah, people pay $4 to go to the zoo, but they'll look at a giraffe. It's never been a deal breaker. I never said to my kids when they were young, you want to go to the zoo? And they'd be like, is there a panda? Because if not, I think we're going to play video games. Like, you just go to the zoo. Whatever's there is there.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to Disneyland and then you get there, they go, Pirates of the Caribbean is shut down. Like, you don't leave. You just go, oh, fuck, and something's always shut down. But we pay to lease. They name the bears. They give us a list of approved names. And
already bullshit.
And now they're pissed because they're like coming over and inspecting the bear and wanting the bear back and saying the bear's been mistreated. And my thing is like, first off, you got a lot of balls coming over here and complaining about how we treat bears when you have 1 million Muslims locked up in an internment camp, fuckers. So don't give us this shit about, it's not, I would take that shit from Sweden. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to take it from a totalitarian dictatorship over there that's fucking oppressing Uyghurs.
Yeah.
Fuck that. So once we have the bear, the policy is we're keeping the bear. Come fucking get it if you want, but good luck. That would be what I would say to China, because all China does is keep our shit, rip our shit off, take our shit. Fuck that. What's the story with the bear, though?
Bring Yaya home. How a panda in the U.S. turbocharged Chinese nationalist sentiment. I have a feeling that nationalist is going to be portrayed in a good light here. This is from CNN. When Yaya, a giant panda from China, landed in the United States in 2003, several hundred spectators at the Memphis International Airport broke into cheers to welcome the fluffy goodwill ambassador from Beijing.
I want all those people arrested because it had to be a weekday at like 1. My thing was like, all right, show of hands. How many of you assholes are on disability right now? Well, I'm my back because I can't work. Yeah, you can come down to the fucking airport and cheer for a panda bear on a Tuesday. You can get the fuck to work. Sorry.
The moment encapsulated a high point in U.S.-China relations, coming 2 years after China joined the World Trade Organization with American support, and as the two countries deepened engagement in areas ranging from the economy.
Sorry, don't have a conversation behind Dawson when he's talking. Thank you. Go
As
ahead.
the two countries deepened engagement in areas ranging from the economy to counterterrorism. 2 decades later, as Yaya bid farewell to the U.S. and boarded a... Do you think he said bye?
There may have been a raised paw.
And boarded a plane heading back to China on Wednesday. She has become a symbol of deteriorating relations between the world's two superpowers, which have fallen to their lowest point in half a century.
I'll bet Yaya's flight to China was more comfortable than my last Spirit airline experience with the no TV and no recline. Sorry, go ahead.
She landed in Shanghai Thursday after a 16-hour flight, carried home by a special FedEx Panda Express plane, Chinese state media reported. For nearly 3 months, heated discussions in China about the treatment of Yaya by the Memphis Zoo have served to highlight just how antagonistic the U.S.-China relationship has become. Unlike the fluffy, chubby image of her younger self, 22-year-old Yaya has appeared skinny in recent photos, with her black and white coat missing clumps of fur. Many in China have been shocked and saddened by her condition. Some believe she had not been given proper care and attention, an accusation first leveled by animal advocates in 2021, but denied repeatedly by the Memphis Zoo.
What's in it for us to abuse a panda or neglect a panda?
Not much.
We're paying through the fucking nose for these things. All we want them to do is mate. Why would we? I'm sure they get as much bamboo as they want, but the panda's depressed, or maybe the panda's got that thing that Jada Pinkett has.
Alopecia?
Yeah, pandapecia.
Yaya and her male companion, Lele, were due to return to China this year after the end of a 20-year loan. But Lele died suddenly of heart disease in early February.
Don't you think if you were born, hypothetical, if you were to live your life in China, would you rather live it as a Chinese person or a panda bear?
That's a tough question.
Okay, well, let me narrow it down a little bit. Would you rather... Where's Adam Ray, by the way? He was told he was here 5 minutes ago. All right. Would you rather in China be born as a panda or be born as a female human? Here comes Adam Ray.
I'm going to go. I'm going panda.
You're going panda?
Yeah, because look, I might get a free flight.
That's right.
I would get fed.
You'll be adored.
I'd be adored.
Adam Ray, hypothetical.
What animal you would bang if you were on a desert island and there was only one animal?
That's the next question. First one is, if you were to be born in China right now, would you rather be born a woman, a little girl, baby, human,
sure,
or a panda?
In
terms of your life and how it was going to go.
This is coming in hot with the would you rather.
Yeah.
So we do it here.
Well, look, that panda looks like it's...
That panda's going through some tough times.
Yeah. It's
right now, you're born in China.
If I'm born in China, I'm probably going... Pandas can kill, right? Babies can't, as far as we know. A little girl in China, you probably don't have a lot of choices. Let's go panda.
Yeah,
go panda.
Panda's the answer.
I would go
protected.
I go panda as long as they didn't send me to the Memphis Zoo.
Right, or the
well,
Kentucky
you really
Zoo.
don't. You don't have that choice.
Yeah, see,
it's just panda or young girl. All right.
You don't like barbecue?
Second question.
Wait, real quick. I have a beer idea called Panda, and here's the commercial. The beer is called Panda, right? Mm-hmm. And every commercial is at a different bar around the country, and these two guys are drinking a beer, and they look over and they go, "Holy shit, is that a panda?" And it's a panda drinking the beer, and he goes, "Hell yeah!"
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, and that could be work for you if you take my hypothetical. And we're born in China. All right.
Listening, Bud Light?
What? All right, now this. A young, all right, same thing. Panda bear, now we'll switch to America. Born in South Central Los Angeles, like Watts, Compton. A young, you can be a young girl, or you can be a panda born in the United States.
jeez.
It's not a good sign that we're even.
Then I don't want to be born a panda.
No, it's not a good sign that you don't want to be born
Oh,
as
I
a
was
young
thinking-
girl in Compton.
I know. That's here. That's
I know,
over here.
that's bad.
Yeah, I don't know who's
That's
going to
our
have a
side.
better chance to survive. Probably the.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what we could do, though. Now, I do think it's fair to say you'd rather be born in the United States a human than a panda.
Right.
In China. But I think if we took this panda theory and we just put it to the test, like we'll just take nations. We'll go, listen, Uruguay, or listen, South Africa, or listen, Sweden, or wherever. We just go, so it's easy. Like we go, would you rather be born a woman in Sweden or panda in Sweden? You go, oh, woman. So now we have our answer on your state and your country and your civilization. If people have to think about it for a while, that's bad. But if they ever go panda, that means it's time to fucking clean house in your country. Like,
yeah, how bad
listen,
is it?
Sudan.
Yeah.
Listen, Somalia. I got bad news for you. I polled 100 people, and they'd rather be born a panda
And live amongst you.
than a person in your culture.
That's bad.
That's a bad sign.
Bad news bears. Now, why panda? Why was panda the first option of
We
what to be
couldn't
born
clear
as?
koala.
Gotcha. Pandas have less STDs, I would
Koalas
assume,
in the
yeah?
mix. Well, yeah, because we have to force them to like have sex and stuff. They
Because
don't-
chlamydia is the koala.
Yeah.
That's what they, yeah. By the way, when I went to Australia to shoot Young Rock, I had a buddy that was like, hey, man, don't fuck a koala, dude. Those things got chlamydia. I was like, yeah, I think there was a whole stack of other reasons why I wasn't going to penetrate a marsupial.
Yes.
But the chlamydia is a good reason.
Yeah.
Are pandas known to have anything bad that they're bringing to the table, disease-wise? Or
Yeah, Ben, Google panda STDs, please.
yeah, again, Ben,
And I don't know if a koala is a marsupial.
it's not.
I don't think so.
What is it? What is it? Just a bear?
Yeah, what are you? You're just a human. I mean, that's.
By the way, this is the guy. I feel like you were a koala firing back at me at a bar while we're both sipping a panda.
Adam was born a koala once. Yeah.
What is?
What the fuck are you, man?
I think you. I think
His koala's a real dick.
I think the kangaroo's a marsupial,
Gotcha.
but I'm not
Yeah,
sure that the
kangaroos are
panda is.
Kangaroo will also fuck you up.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to a sanctuary out there and was feeding kangaroos, and we're getting real close. And at one point, I laid down and like tried to spoon one almost, and the guide was like, they're real friendly. They're just looking for food and friends and fun. Oh. And then these things stand up. Right, one of them like got up off the ground, and they're the equivalent age-wise of like, I guess if you're in a senior citizen home and you're like feeding them applesauce and watching them just kind of parade around. But when they stand up, they all look like they've been doing dips from like 9 a.m. until 8:30 p.m.
Really?
And you're like, what are they prepping for? The shoulder definition's out of control.
Can we? Now there was a thing because I feel like in Australia they call them roos.
Yeah.
but we don't call them roos. We call them kangaroos.
Right.
And I think it might be some sort of appropriation if we started calling
Oh, we
them
can't say
roos.
roos.
Like
You can't
way back in the day. You may know this, Adam, but people in San Francisco got pissed if you said San Fran.
Oh, they still do.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
you
still
can't-
do.
Oh, yeah,
they don't
they
like
hate
It's
it.
like they're pissed.
Yeah.
To me, you're just looking for a reason to be pissed.
It
I don't
does
have
sound like that, but
laws.
they really don't like it.
I'm from North Hollywood. You mean NoHo? Whoa! Now we're throwing down. Like
Easy
you
foreigner.
How dare you abbreviate my city?
Yeah.
My mom died NoHo. How dare you? Like that's up to them. They would like to shorten the name of my city. They may, but I don't know if you went to Australia and started calling them roos.
Yeah, you
I
might
don't
get a
think it
couple
would
double
work.
takes.
Yeah, I don't think it'll work.
Now, why
Hard R.
How hard do you think a kangaroo's busting a nut when they're that jacked? I guess that wasn't my first thought when I saw them so
'Cause they're already
heavily built.
tense.
Yeah, they're tense. That's what I'm saying. And they're walking around with like they just look like they need to release, I guess.
Yeah,
And I'm
Full.
not saying I'm like, hi sharks.
Right.
We don't have enough people jerking off kangaroos. You mean
Right.
roos? You're fired.
Right. Pandas live 15 to 20 years in the wild and 30
I believe it.
with human care. And a marsupial. Is that...
Now, molecular studies indicate the giant panda is a true bear.
all right. But
That's what Wikipedia
But what
says.
is a koala?
this isn't
A koala is a
satisfying for-
marsupial.
Is?
Yes.
Circle gets a square.
Wow. I thought a marsupial had to have a pouch.
No, they just they give birth to underdeveloped young. And so I guess that would say a pouch. So yeah.
No.
It says it right here. Koala facts. Koalas are a type of mammal called marsupials, which give birth to underdeveloped young.
So some humans are marsupials.
Now, forgive me
Well,
for
then what's the definition of the kangaroo with the pouch? And am I screwing that up? And I owe Adam an
Kangaroos
apology.
are definitely marsupials too, like that. When I think of marsupials,
And is the pouch an extra pussy or just a place to keep your personal belongings? We'll be right back.
I wanted to do a bit where the kangaroo had the Gen Z fucking lazy teen marsupial who didn't want to leave the pouch.
Oh, yeah.
The stepdad showed up and it's like, you got to get out of the pouch. And she was making excuses. He's taking some classes
funny.
at a junior college. Like, that's not a real college. He's got to get a job and leave the pouch, you know?
Yeah.
What am I screwed up then with the marsupial and the...
I don't think you're screwed up because it says kangaroos are marsupials as well.
Oh, and the pouch is neither here nor there. All right, you can keep looking. All right, we'll take a quick break. Adam Ray's hanging out. We got a lot more to talk about in news and all that as well right after this. Oh, let me tell you about AG1. AG1 by Athletic Greens. I take it daily. You should give it a try. It's good for gut health, increased energy, immune support. It tastes great as well, which is a plus because it's good for you. I take AG1. Well, I take it in the morning. Just put it in a shaker bottle, and you can feel it almost immediately. You'll feel your energy go up, and it'll satiate you. You're not going to be snacking all day. It's easy to fit in your lifestyle. It's the healthiest thing you can do in under a minute. Just 1 scoop of powder mixed with water once a day, and you're done. Bob's your uncle. Every scoop is packed with 75 vitamins, minerals, and high-quality whole food sourced ingredients. My AG1 is delivered every month right to the house. Super easy. Just make it part of your daily habit. And you can also get the single-serving travel packs, which I always take with me on the road trips. It's AG1, right, Dawson?
If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/ACS. That's athleticgreens.com/ACS. Check it out. It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace Man, is it possible that your parents were so lazy they named you Adam only because it's on the first page of the book of baby names? Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
It's possible, but the last I checked, the book of baby names cost $4. So I don't think they went down that road. Not all marsupials have pouches.
right? But a lot of them do, and koalas actually have a back pouch.
Really?
Yeah.
They're gay?
Wait, we pull that up. That's hilarious.
They have a back pouch?
The pouch is present to protect the offspring while they suckle on the nipples. Now, what's the difference between sucking and suckling?
Sucking makes it weird.
Right.
Makes it sexual.
Suckle is just a light
You
nibble.
suck on your mom's tits.
You suckle on a...
That's weird. But if you suckle
suck
on
on a
them,
string.
Totally fine. No
Yeah.
questions asked.
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why you looked at me when you said that. And as such, is even a fold in some species like the pockets on a new jacket. Yeah, for sure.
So there is a pouch on the back of koalas.
Yeah.
Is this new to everybody? I'd never heard about
I
this.
only knew about the front pouch.
But the marsupial doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a pouch, but it helps.
Right.
That we're at?
Most of marsupials have pouches.
All right. Well, I'm incorrect, but it's only because I didn't know they had a pouch.
Yeah, had you known they had the back pouch,
I
you
would have called
classified
them
marsupial.
Gay marsupials. Back bottom pouch.
Sounds like a Garth Brooks song waiting to happen.
All right. I should. There's other things we wanted to get to, which is the story out of Washington. Where was it, Dawson? Olympia? Can't remember where it was.
Sounds like
The Olympia School District.
Yeah, it was a great thing. I should tell you that Adam Ray's got dates. He's got a special. Read the Room. It's full special. It's available on YouTube right now. It's going to be at the Hollywood Improv coming up May 12th, and the Punchline in Atlanta, Georgia, and West Palm Beach Improv, great club. There, May 26th through the 28th.
Oh, that got changed. It's now the Irvine Improv, May 24th and 25th, because they're demolishing Palm Beach and building a new mall. And so we thought we were going to be able to get the date in before, but no siree. They decided to move up the mall, demolish.
Well, it was funny because I played there. When the fuck did I play there? 4 months ago or something?
Yes, it feels like, yeah.
And 3 months ago, and they were telling us we're tearing the club down. Look new, big, beautiful, large club, and they're like, we're tearing it down. So
it got bought out by like some real estate.
Right. So when I read it that you were going to be there, I was be like, well, it's going to be one of the last shows they do there, but apparently not.
Thought it was going to be. So May 24th and 25th, Irvine Improv, baby.
I hope they put a plaque up there for Drunkest American, which is Mark Carragher's.
Oh.
Just got destroyed.
Oh yeah,
we did some shows there that people kept sending shots of Don Julio up to the stage.
And he kept taking them.
We kept taking them.
Oh my God!
And Mark just got destroyed. He was first off, I would watch a YouTube channel just called Drunken Eating. Yeah. Like the way he ordered something with pretzel bread.
Yeah.
He picked off all the crust of the pretzel bread, the shiny brown part.
Well, no. He said he was going keto, so he didn't. Somebody else ordered pretzel bread for the room. He's like, I'm not touching it. I'm going full keto.
Let me explain keto. You know, Mike Tyson has a great quote, which is, everyone has a plan until they get punched, right? I would revise that to, everyone goes keto until they get drunk.
Yeah. It's all out the window.
That's what fucking happens. You start off going, I'm full keto, and at some point it's like, is that ranch with those curly fries? Like, as soon as you get a buzz going, you fuck it, keto's gone.
Too many good treats at your disposal.
Right.
Also, you bring up a good point. How tough is it when you're doing a show like you guys do, and people are throwing cocktails at the stage, and when people want you to take them, like I'm sure the whole crowd in unison was like, "Get fucked up."
Oh my God!
Does it make the show better when you know? Because if you're just up there doing a show and you see a comic just get hammered on their own free will, and it wasn't the crowd's idea. I don't think the crowd's too pumped about it. But if they're the ones instigating and initiating, I feel like you can have the time of your life.
Well, I did. Mark started picking at the pretzel bread.
Mark says he's keto, and then he grabs the pretzels. He doesn't want to eat the whole pretzel, so he just peels the skin off.
Weird.
The
With
pretzel
his fingernails.
just eats the skin off.
Weird. The skin of the pretzel?
Just all. Yeah.
It reminds me of a girl in middle school that used to suck Advil because she said she liked the candy coating.
Then
Anyway.
he boots.
I'll email you the rest of that story.
Please.
Boots in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then comes out, hits the Barca lounger, and just completely up.
Just snoring.
Now, is this consistent with his Palm Beach behavior?
No, but
Florida brings it out of you.
I've never seen such respect and admiration from a man, especially a principled man and an accomplished man like him. And at some point, he did the drunken move where he leaves.
Oh, yeah.
And then no one knows where he is.
Right.
And everyone's
Goodbye.
worried. Like everyone picture him walking on trolley tracks or something.
Oh, he was that
like,
type of drunk.
He was.
He was.
But,
Well, when a guy leaves, four guys will go to Vegas. One guy will disappear night one and show up on night 5
Right.
at the airport, and they'll be like, "Craig, where were you?" And he'll go, "I don't fucking know."
Right.
And they'll go, "Well, at least you're here and you're not dead. We actually weren't even concerned about you." Whereas girls, it's
Right.
head count for every activity. But guys are just like, "Hey, man, we're supposed to get to here by here. If you're not there, you're probably around Vegas somewhere."
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
I think we got Mark's snoring video.
You got a video of him
Passed out.
snoring? Nice. Oh, in the fucking green room. Oh yeah. That's a hefty snore. Oh man.
Now, I'd never had more praise heaped on me in my life because we were up on stage, both going shot for shot.
Wow.
And he came back, booted, passed out, staggered out of the club. And he's like, "What'd you do, man?" And I was like, "I did a late show." And he's like, how the fuck did you do a late show? I was
that's some superhero
I fucking
shit.
started drinking coffee and
You did.
drinking water, and we had 45 minutes in between, whatever.
So
and I
you
just
got
fucking
fucked
went
up
out
on the first show.
Went out and did a fucking 90-minute show, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're my hero." It's so funny.
Now, what is drunk Carolla like? I think I've been drunk
there's
on your
tape
show,
of it.
but yeah.
There's tape of it.
You seem like a good time.
Oh yeah, when we go to Vegas and do the whiskey expo and everything like
You
that.
let loose.
Fuck yeah,
You
why
pick
not?
and choose your moments to kind of throw them down.
I'm just like, and we're here in Vegas. We're at the fucking whiskey expo. I'm just gonna get hammered.
Do you
It'll
need
be funny.
Do you need the backdrop of what you're doing to be on point, or can the company make it the reason to throw down?
If we did like a live show from an AIDS hospice at noon, it would probably be out of line.
Cancel the AIDS hospice show with Carolla. Yeah. No, George, I don't care, man. I don't care if it's a nonprofit.
It's your stepdad.
Yeah, George put it together.
But when you're in Vegas and it's at night and you're at the whiskey sampling, whatever,
Yeah.
fuck it. Makes it funny.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
All right. There's something I wanted to get into. The music. The music. All right. So this is insane. You can clean up the screens here, fellas. It's a story I heard about today, which is a school. Well, you read it, Dawson.
Washington School Board called out for absurdity after cutting music classes for white supremacy. The Olympia School District in Washington State is under fire for cutting music classes amid claims they promote white supremacy culture and significant institutional violence. Board members for the Olympia School District, which is facing a budget shortfall of millions of
Institutional
dollars.
violence. Like, I went upside this guy's head with an oboe after hearing that sonata. It's fuck, I just saw red, man.
Voted last week to eliminate band and orchestra for fourth grade students.
No, that's when you start.
With one member commenting on the problems with how elementary instrumental music is administered. Alicia Perkins, a mother of three in the district, called out the absurdity of the move on Tuesday.
We have the woman at the meeting, the school person. Well, first things first. Okay.
This is Olympia, Washington. This is about 3.5, 4 hours south of where I grew up.
All right. First off, we have a new leader in the clubhouse in Chick Think. The last leader was the crazy shrew from Los Angeles who blamed Toyota for the catalytic converter thefts.
Yeah.
Now we have a new leader, this insane coos, who says that music is racist. And by the way, you know what I love about all these asswipes? For a million years, all I grew up listening to is talking about bringing music and arts back to the schools.
Yeah.
And hi, I'm Sheryl Crow, and it promotes development, and
Yep.
it promotes responsibility, and it promotes unity, and all that. In the year 2000, these same idiots were telling us that music was the most important subject in school. Now it's racist, which just goes to show they can do anything at any time. They really can. There are no rules. There are no boundaries. It also lets you know that racism is over because they've gone on to classical music. But I was in Mr. Inocencio's class in the 7th grade.
And Ascensios?
Yes. And we called him Mr. I because if you had a tough name.
That's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
he
just gotta
was
abbreviate it.
He was Japanese, I think. Our band leader
Nice.
was Japanese. I played trumpet.
Of course you did.
I played on, I was like 7th chair, and we
Sure.
only had 5 chairs.
Sure.
You know, he wanted to leave one open for Elijah just in case. Like, he's like,
That's a
can't I
great
sit
joke.
next to the guy
Yeah,
who's
no.
the 5th guy? No, in case somebody gets drunk and comes in here and picks up a trumpet, I want a space for them.
Oh yeah, I was third chair clarinet, and I think there were but I was third chair. There was first chair. There were 8 first chairs, like 11 second chairs, and 49 third chairs. And I think I was 3 towards the end. And I would still challenge. There was a kid named Clement Lee who I think now plays in symphonies. He was first of the first chairs, and you could challenge someone to get moved up. So as jokes, even in 7th grade, I would challenge Clement Lee. And they go, all right, Adam Clement into the closet to and you guys decide who goes first.
Oh,
And then-
blind. Was it a blind?
and the class would vote. And so we had a certain song to learn. And it'd be like, all right, first person, whoever's going first, go first. And Clement would go, and it'd be this beautiful, just the kid
Rhapsody in Blue.
Oh, it was just perfect. And didn't skip a beat, didn't miss a note. And then they go, all right, challenger number 2. And I would just go, Fuck! Can I start again? Clearly me. Everyone starts laughing. I go, that's all I needed. And then I play and I struggle through it. We come out and Mr. Harshman goes, who was number one? And then everyone is coming and he goes, you won. I go, oh, this shit's rigged. But also, when you're playing third chair clarinet, like my mom would come, my sweet Jewish single mom would come to these concerts, and as a third chair clarinet, you've got like 9 notes across 15 songs.
Yeah.
So literally, everyone's holding their shit on their side, and then the band leader goes, like this, and everyone holds their instruments up, and then immediately the song starts, and every clarinet in the third chair just puts their shit down,
right? Because
you have 97 measures of rest. And I literally remember playing like, here's me during one of the first songs. So after sitting there for 9 minutes, and I go, bam, bam, and then wait another 12 minutes, and I looked up, my mom was just like, the fuck am I doing here?
What song? Do you remember what song?
I think it was Chumbawamba Tum Thumpin'.
I know that one.
I hate them.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It was like Fair Lee's. I don't know, with a...
What song?
Fair Lee's,
Fair Lee's.
Yeah, that's a 7th, 8th grade standard.
I remember being so excited because we had a recital too. And I guess my dad played the trumpet, although, not professionally, but he played. The trumpet was my dad's life. So
that's why you want to play. It's a cool instrument.
Well, what happens is when you don't have a life, you have to sort of latch on to something.
Yeah.
Like there's like the car version where it's like, I got a 67 Impala. That baby, next year I'm rebuilding the transmission. I've had it since I was 19. It's like, that is a $6,000 car that you never stopped. And they made 400,000 units of it in like 1 year, and you just never stopped talking about it. But you have to go back to your job at the postal sorting place on Monday. So the car kind of becomes a thing. So my dad didn't have a lot going on, but he had a trumpet.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of trumpet, would weave the trumpet into every discussion.
Did it start as a hobby and grew into a passion out of necessity to like fill small talk and downtime?
It's just the one thing it's the only thing he's ever cared about is the trumpet.
Wow.
That's every time I talk to him, it's trumpet talk. I had a very real talk with my dad about his trumpet about a week ago when I visited him. He started in on the trumpet, and I was like, but you never got paid to play the trumpet, right? Like it's a kind of a lot of talk for never any money coming in.
What is he saying about the trumpet?
What isn't he saying about the trumpet?
Is he like kind of like Rico from Napoleon Dynamite? Like, whoa, man, remember this concert? Like,
wow. Yeah, we started like chronicling his trumpet life, and getting into it, but he never made it. He never got paid. He was never in it wasn't Herb Alpert. He wasn't in the Tijuana Brass or the Baja Marinda Band. He never wasn't even a glorified mariachi or anything. Like he never had a gig, And I said to him, why do you think maybe you never became a professional, And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, do you think maybe you could have practiced more? Like could have taken it like more seriously, like got a coach and going at it for like 4 hours a day or something. And he's like, maybe. And I'm like, I mean, I think you probably had the ability to do it. Sure. And he just went, I was scared. And it's like,
of getting too good? Of all the trumpet pussy that was coming my way. I wouldn't be able to turn it down.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, well, there's not only that. When you really learn to play the trumpet, you get trumpet pussy and flugelhorn pussy because you can play them both.
Crossover.
And that flugelhorn pussy is the best. That's the sweetest. Yeah. I know it's been said before.
Flugelhorn pussy is an Inspector Gadget villain that they tried to pitch in the room and nobody was on board with it. Inspector Gadget needs Dr. Claw isn't enough. He needs another foe. How about flugelhorn pussy? Get out of the room, Brian.
It was a revealing conversation. Yeah. I didn't want to be the heavy in the room, but I do talk to people. I do say to people a lot, like, well, you want to do stand-up, but you don't do it. Like, you kind of have to do it.
Yeah, you need the reps.
Why do you want him to think this, though, this late in his life?
He was afraid. But you do remember that when you did the theater out in Hollywood, I can't remember the damn name of it, in North Hollywood.
Yeah. The El Portal.
Your dad asked if he could play the trumpet on that stage, right? He wasn't afraid then.
Yes. Well, that was one of those tell questions.
Yeah.
Because I talked to him, and he said, like, you're playing a show in North Hollywood? And I was like, yeah. Why? Because you've never asked. You've never showed up at a show or asked the question.
Ever.
No, but it does explain that everything when your curiosity is like, why are you asking now? He's like, I just thought I'd come by and bring my trumpet. And I was like, now
gotcha,
we got it.
Gotcha.
But the no, I think for him, he just said he grew up scared.
Okay.
And that it'd be like
Well,
saying,
he's probably scared of all the white supremacy surrounding classical music.
oh, he may have seen that one coming.
Also, maybe the stage. I mean, it's like you know. When
No, he wasn't scared to be on stage.
Okay. Or the audience.
What he did is like, it'd be like saying, why are you always behind on your taxes? And then you went, when I was 9, I was bit by a dog. And you go, what's that have to do with this? And it's like, it's a general trauma thing. It was sort of general trauma.
Gotcha.
Can't do things because of the generalized trauma.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was interesting. But I, for this brief moment, was like, I'm going to play the trumpet in Mr. Inocencio's class. And I'm going to make my dad proud because I'm playing the trumpet now. And that's all. He doesn't care about Pop Warner football, but he.
Right.
But
Now
he
there's
cares.
real common ground. here.
Now there's common ground. He doesn't, whatever it is I was into, he wasn't into it, but I know he's into the trumpet. And we did a recital in the 7th grade, and we got to play Sweet Caroline.
Wow.
But
Full band.
because I was 7th chair in a 5-chair orchestra, I had the same thing you had, which I'm thinking like ba da 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 ba da 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 da. You know what my part was? Bump, bump. I just sit back for another 10 minutes. Bump, bump.
yeah.
All I got was the bump, bump part.
You got to fill the downtime somehow.
Everyone else was doing the na.
You just had to tap your toe like an asshole.
You make a little busy, like hit the spit valve a few times,
I would
limber up the
pretend
fingers.
to finger along, and all the other
Stay
chairs were like,
warm.
we're not playing. I was like, fuck you, Greg. You got to look busy. Some kids panic. My buddy was a musical director for an elementary school in Federal Way, Washington. And he told me during a concert, a kid just like us who didn't have a lot to do stood up during the concert, pulled his pants down. This kid was in the 4th grade and shook his dick around and went, ah! And I was like, awesome. He said the kid had done it in like bathrooms and recess. And I was like, well, now he's playing Carnegie Hall. He just wanted a bigger audience.
Yeah.
And so my buddy said it was so tough to not laugh because the way he shook it and screamed was so funny. And it was during like a quiet part of the song. And so I go, what did you do? He goes, well, we had to suspend him, but we took him to the office. And he's like, but when a kid pulls his dick out, you can't be like, go to my office now. You got to be like, take your time getting there, because you can't be like, take that little wiener and get into my room where no one else will be. So the kid goes in there, and they had to call his dad in. And the dad comes in and was like, so what happened? And my buddy had to tell him, like, oh, your son, during the show, during a real quiet part of the song, pulled his pants down and shook his penis around. And he said the dad was like, what do you mean shook it around? And my buddy was like, and did that. And then his dad legit verbatim goes, did anybody get hurt? And he was like, I mean, physically, no. Emotionally, that was probably a lot of people's first wiener experience. And he was like, if nobody got hurt, it sounds like he just did something funny, got a little attention. What's the big deal? And my buddy was like, well, dude, you can't take your dick out at school. Like, I have to suspend him. And his dad was like, you do what you got to do, and then we'll go from there. Which is basically a very like casual dad threat. I don't know if you're.
That sounds like a threat.
Yeah, I mean, I never.
Well,
wanted,
the ultimate threat is you do what you got to do, and then I'm going to do what I have to do.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the threat.
It would have been great if the dad took his dick out and was like, you going to tell on me too?
All right, we have the clip of the Washington School Board meeting.
School district that lives is an entrenched and is surrounded by white supremacy culture, not just schools, but local government, state government, our churches, our neighborhoods, inculcate and allow white supremacy culture to continue to be propagated and cause significant institutional violence are things that we have to think about carefully as a community.
Wow.
We have jumped the shark.
Yeah.
This is insane. We've now officially insane. The good news is we can, now when someone brings up something racist now, I just start laughing. Like when they said something was racist 15 years ago, I was like, oh shit, what happened? Somebody dropped an N-bomb? Like what happened? Is there news? Like what? Now it's just like, oh boy,
Yeah. You make everything racist.
Crazy shrew talking about nothing.
There's a great line here. Someone is saying that the music program is a target because the motto of the music program is tradition of excellence.
Oh, that's a problem.
And this person said, the director of elementary education stated that not only is the program inequitable, but when she heard the word tradition of excellence, which was used to describe our music programs, she said the word tradition actually translated to her meaning systemic discrimination.
Yeah, it's a trigger. You don't want to hear about tradition. Did do we find any of those commercials where like Sheryl Crow's Save the Music or any of that, Ben? Are they out there? Because it just
I'm not seeing any. I'll keep looking. I'm seeing plenty of Sheryl Crow PSAs though.
On
she loves a good PSA.
other subjects?
Yes.
Not related to music.
No.
What do you gotta get to in the fame hierarchy before people are coming at you to do PSAs? You know what I'm saying? Like, how big do you gotta get? Do you gotta get global? Or just gotta get big in like a couple quadrants of the country? Do you gotta be like synonymous with like a certain issue? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if?
Yeah.
You know, like what? You know, like yeah. I don't know. Like if. You know, Tony Danza, you know,
Tony Danza could definitely do a PSA.
Well, look, I've never been one to wear condoms. I've also been never one to put on my seatbelt.
I would do rollerblade safety.
Oh yeah. Well,
because he ate shit on rollerblades in Central Park.
Rollerblades, dirt bikes, go-karts. You see when I almost fucking broke my asshole on a scooter.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Okay.
I tape all my exits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, when did he fall off a
rollerblade act?
Yeah. Oh, there's a fucking crazy well, let's see what Sheryl Crow's going to do.
This isn't going to be a bunch of people singing, is it? Is it just her?
This is 2003. Here we go.
I don't say this just because I was a school teacher. It would be devastating for our young people if music was taken out of the classroom because it's something they can latch onto and find their identity in. When a kid learns how to take that and make it his own, it's amazing. It's really fun to see a child light up like that and to know that they're getting it.
Lots of black
music lets kids shine. Help us keep it in our schools. Join Blue from American Express.
Why is she teaching
Support
all
Save the
those
Music.
black kids white supremacy?
Yep. Well, she's got to be canceled now.
I mean,
all right, you found one, Ben. That wasn't that hard, right?
Yeah, I was looking for 90s, but that was early 2000s.
I mean, to pull out music from any school is just so crazy. Does it cost that much for all the instruments and all the I don't know. It just doesn't feel like
I guess, but
when people like are cutting programs and music ends up making the list, I'm always like, what are you saving? I mean, I don't know. How much are 30 trumpets?
I know we should ask my dad doesn't buy his own trumpets. I buy them.
He doesn't buy them in bulk?
His dad buys the very high end.
Yeah, I don't know.
High-end stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like, get rid of math before music.
Yeah,
right?
let's lose math.
Tractors got to be more expensive.
So, Sweet Caroline, your two notes discouraged you from continuing on with the trumpet.
No, back in the day, my fortunes could be moved or swayed with just a gentle breeze. You know what I mean? Like I signed up the next year to take like medium band or fair to midland band or something like that. And like I didn't get it in my report or my schedule.
Right.
And I walked into my class, I don't know, like I said to the counselor, like I thought I signed up for Mr. Inocencio's class. You got plastics instead. And I was like, okay. All right. And I just stood in the plastic class and didn't make anything. Like I couldn't fill things out properly. I couldn't really get my class. I was kind of at the mercy of the school and the counselors for me.
Going with the current.
Yeah, I couldn't get the paperwork done for like the emergency card and the stuff that my parents need to sign, and I couldn't fill stuff out. So I would just kind of show up and they'd go, that's the dumb class, over there, and that's the plastic class, a class nobody wants,
Well, maybe you should have been in those classes if you couldn't fill out your stuff right.
Yeah, I probably should have learned to read and write.
Yeah.
But instead, I just took Mr. Mallon's plastic class, and Mr. Mallon was such a fucking colossal douche.
Yeah.
Actually, Mr. Mallon's plastic class is the only time my hippie mom was paid dividends. Because you don't want a hippie mom. Hippie moms, they're doing their own thing, and you go do your own thing, and you're like, I'm 9, I'm hungry, And they're like, yeah, but you do your own thing, Like, kids are people. They're little adults,
Yeah.
But it's really just, I want to hang out. But I did cash in a hippie chip with my mom over Mr. Mallon. Mr. Mallon was such a colossal douche. The bar was low for shop teachers at Walter Reed Elementary in the late 70s. Like Mr. Martin was an asshole, Mr. Gage was an asshole, Mr. Mallon was an asshole. All of them were assholes.
This was just plastic shop, or was there wood shop? I didn't have wood shop till 7th grade.
We had wood shop. We had Mr. Gage taught metal. Mr. Martin taught wood.
Wait, Gage taught metal?
Yeah, and it was a calling. And then Mr. Mallon taught plastic. And first day, the sink, like the shop sink, had a little weird drinking fountain, sort of plumbed into it, kind of a couple elbows and a couple of nipples and suckle on that. And it was there was a shop sink, And I remember first day of class, like somebody went in and got a suck off the drinking fountain, like before they sat down. Oh, yeah. And he's like, hey, stay away from the drink fountain. And he's like, what? What's the problem? He's like, you come into my class, you sit down immediately. You don't sort of dilly-dally at the drinking fountain. You come in, you sit down. And he's like, and during work period, you work. You don't use the drinking fountain.
Wow.
And during cleanup, we clean up. You don't use the drinking fountain. And when the bell rings, you leave. You don't stop at the drinking fountain. I was like, this fucking insane monster has a drinking fountain in his class that is rendered useless.
Yeah.
It's there for show because
it's a decorative fountain.
Just because he's an asshole won't let anyone use it just to be mean.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, dilly-dallying is a part of being a kid.
I know, that's what I spent most of my youth either dilling or dallying.
You dilly or dally.
That's
you come into
all I
class,
did.
no one sits down and starts their day. Even as an adult, you dilly, you dally.
He was such a fucking prick.
Most of these guys are pricks. We had Mr. Pygott, and it was the first time I heard a teacher ever curse because he cut his thumb off with a bandsaw and said, and I quote, fuck my ass. Fuck my ass. Thumb was still dangling off.
Don't tell me.
Sorry. With a bandsaw. We were making cutting boards. I made a heart-shaped cutting board that my friend Morgan Nielsen, shout out, rubbed his dick and balls over. I made it for my grandma, and Morgan was one of these guys, 6'6", 250, would tackle kids buck naked in the showers like pre-football, back when it was cool, and he would like take his big dick and wrap it around his arm and show the coach and go, you want to buy my Rolex? Coach would laugh. Morgan would. Morgan was a big dude. He used to do this thing called sukiyaki. When we would go to the Lake Washington, he would like pretend to be a lagoon monster and like hover above the water, and then like he'd like go like this, like hey, and then like somebody would be in front of him like having a good time, splashing around, hitting on a girl, and then he would take his hands. He called it sukiyaki, and we'd go like this, and he would drive his hands up your butt while you were underwater. So you'd be watching someone as Morgan would go hey, and then you see someone across from him going like talking, and then just go, oh God! And so anyway, he rubbed his dick and balls on my cutting board and said, "Tell your grandma dinner is served," and I threw it away. But yeah, Mr. Pygott, thumb off, fuck my ass.
Oh.
Hearing a teacher swear is it's almost like seeing him at the mall. It makes him real.
Yeah.
I love how that's the traumatizing part.
What's that?
It's him saying "fuck my ass" and not his thumb hanging off his hand.
No, it was hilarious. Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
So, Mr. Mallon,
where's he now?
I hope he's dead. I don't know. It's got to be gone.
Oh my God, that's him.
He's definitely dead.
Mr. Mallon. So I was like, now, in any shop class, there is a moment. There's a moment of inspiration.
Sure.
Same moment. I remember having that same moment my first day working at McDonald's. Because what happens on your first day is there's a moment where, like, the assistant manager, Ken, comes up to you and he goes, Rob over there is making $6.75 an hour because he's been here for a year, and that guy kicks ass. You're making $2.35 an hour, but this is your first day, but you stick with it. We'll move you from behind the grill, and then we'll get you front at the register, and then next thing you know, you'll be making $6.75 an hour, and Rob just bought a used TR6 with the money he made. And then you have these grandeur illusions of like, I'm going to make him proud. Man. Then you get about 2 hours in your first shift, and you're like, oh, fuck this. Like, my fucking cuticle smell like onions. I'm leaving. I'm blowing this fucking taco stand. But there's a moment, and when Mr. Mallon...
A Mick moment.
Yeah, a Mick moment. We had a Mallon moment, too, where he got up there, and the first day, he was showing slides. It was like... This is my prize student. He's like a fourth semester plastic student, and this is a picture of Tim Prescott. And here he is with a kayak he built. He built a kayak, and here we are at the state thing down at the LA Convention Center, and he got a blue ribbon, and it's like he made a kayak, and I was like,
he's getting you a dream.
Yeah, one day you're gonna be talking about me.
Yeah,
talking about me up there.
Yeah,
and. Our first project was a cultured marble, a plastic marble, like pen set or something. And he was such a douche. And I was like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get out of here.
This can't be my story.
But can't be your story. You're dehydrated.
I'm dehydrated. I want to use the fountain. So I cashed in my mom's hippie chip. I went into my mom's room, where her mattress was on the floor. And I said, I keep getting these headaches. I said, why? I said, Mr. Mallon's running a plastics class. There's like toxic fumes. It's so toxic in there. It's like the smell of the plastic. Back in this, you could get hippies with plastic talk in the 70s. That was their whole thing was all plastics, and it gives off the fumes, and you're being poisoned or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, I'm just sitting in this plastic class. My eyes are watering because of the fumes are so bad with the plastic. In the 70s, they hated plastic.
Sure.
They want everything being a Boda bag or wood or anything. Plastic was evil. And so plastic was an insult. Look at this guy's all plastic, phony, plastic agent, plastic chick with her fake tits and her plastic. That was, as soon as my mom got off her ass, she wrote a note talking about toxins and headaches and the indigenous people.
Sure.
Probably dropped a few teardrops on it. I dropped it off at my counselor's office. I got right out of Mr. Mallon's class.
Shout out to Miss Carolla.
Yes.
But I realized he was the most evil shop teacher at all. And in high school, no girls liked me. No girls liked me. One girl.
His wife.
One girl liked me. Stacy Mallon. His daughter.
His daughter.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Stacy
Checkmate.
Mallon in high school, I was just going home and beating off and crying and, crying myself to sleep every night. No girls like me. One girl. Stacy Mallon. Stacy Mallon was the only one who's kind of upfront about it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, I do kind of dig
yes.
What did
your
you bond
vibe.
over?
Huh?
What did you bond over?
Well,
How much her dad sucks?
I was just like, she was pretty cute.
She's like, speaking of Dylan,
You know what
and
I mean?
Dowling,
Stacey Mallon sounds
I had nothing going, but I was like, I kept thinking, I hate your dad so much, and I can't do this.
Oh, gotcha.
I can't
be attached
date
to the
you. I'll
Mallon
think
family.
of your dad.
Yeah.
He
I'll have to
ruined
come
it?
home and meet, come over for
fuck that.
Thanksgiving
Thought
or
about
something.
With plastic silverware.
Yeah, and cultured marble cutting board. Your friend rubbed his cock and balls on.
You go to the bathroom. Hey, no dilly dallying. Don't drink from that
Oh,
sink.
what if
I'm
I
not,
wanted
man. You
tap
poured me
water?
a glass of water. You
Oh my
fucking
God.
psycho.
I was just like, I can't do it because I'm seeing her dad every
Yeah.
time I see Stacy.
Yeah.
I never told her. She probably thought
Poor
something was
Stacey.
wrong with
Yeah.
her. You know what I mean? I didn't, if Adam Carolla turned you down in the 10th grade, you had to go right into therapy. Like that, something was amiss. And she never
That's
knew
so
that it
funny.
was the disdain that I had for her dad.
Did she know that the disdain was probably consistent with most students? Like, when you're, if you're did she also she also went to the school? Yeah.
Yeah.
So her dad, you got to know, word travels fast if your parent is a teacher and they suck.
Yeah, we always know.
Yeah. Yeah. She probably knew it. All right.
She got a lot.
Let's take a break. We'll come back, do some news right after this. The Jordan Harbinger Show, a different kind of sponsor for this episode, the Jordan Harbinger Show. Well, if you're a fan of fascinating podcasts and interesting people, you should definitely check this one out. There's an episode for everyone, no matter what you're into. Jordan talks with Scott Adams about persuasion in a world where facts don't matter anymore. Man, is he right. Or you go inside the dark world of wildlife trafficking. You'll always find something useful to apply to your own life, like routine changes to boost productivity or slight mindset tweaks that change how you see the world. Jordan's a good guy. We've had him on many times. I know the man well, and he's worth a listen. We enjoy the show, and we know you will too. So you can search The Jordan Harbinger Show. That is HARB as in boy, IN as in Nancy, GER on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hey, it's Adam Carolla. Is your vehicle no longer stopping like it used to? Or does it squeal, shake, or grind when you brake? Don't miss spring brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts now through April 25th. You can get 15% off when you buy a set of Brake Best Select or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Brake Best Select and Import Direct brake pads are engineered for all driving conditions to restore and improve braking performance. With application-specific friction formulas, noise-canceling shims, and low-dust operation. Trust Brake Best and Import Direct to deliver better braking. Don't take a chance on your next brake repair. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help you find the brake parts and supplies you need to do the job right the first time. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit online, O'ReillyAuto.com.
In celebration of Jim Carolla's upcoming 92nd birthday, here's a list of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Number 53. Worn a reflective vest. Just one of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
He may have. Maybe. Nah. I think it was early morning walk, maybe, but nah, I don't think so. Yeah.
Those cost money.
Poor Stacy Mallon. All right. Poor me. I was like, oh, there's one person in this entire school that's attracted to me, and I eliminated you from my list of potential dates.
You just have to be a real douche to ruin your daughter's chances of dating.
Yeah, it was a lasting impression.
Maybe that's why he was going so hard in the paint. Maybe he just knew there were so many potential suitors at school that could fuck his daughter, and he just was like,
it worked.
It's not happening.
Totally effective.
So he's like, I got to nitpick. You can't dilly and dally. You can't drink from the fountain, right? Like, put on this apron when you fucking take a shit. Like, he just had all these weird rules that you just had to abide by. And I don't know, is Stacy on Facebook? Have you ever thought to try to look her up? That to me feels like the only reason for Facebook at this point.
I have to wait till after her dad. I have to call her and go, is your dad dead yet? Because I know I'm in my 50s and you're in your 50s, and I just want to know if he's around.
This is why VH1 needs to bring back the Where Are They Now? But Where Are They Now, like Almost Girlfriends?
I think we have a picture of Stacy from the yearbook, so it said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
cute. A little Deborah Winger going on?
Yeah, had a cute,
nice.
tight body.
Seems nice.
I would say.
Yeah, fuck. Who knows though? Like living under the Malin shadows.
I know.
You know what was going on, and what sort of ringer he would have put you through.
Yeah.
Maybe he would have done some Dalai Lama shit and been like, "Suck my tongue," right? and then she's all yours.
All right. Should we do some news?
Sure. So as we record this, today we found out that Jerry Springer has died.
Yeah, big bummer.
I know, big bummer. He's 79. Statement said that Springer died peacefully after a brief illness at his home in suburban Chicago.
Oof. Yeah, he was a real nice guy. Thoughtful guy. I've interviewed him long form a few times. He was an interesting guy.
Yeah.
A lot more to
He's
him.
been on the show 3 times and on Take a Knee once. Mm-hmm. And he actually filled in for you when you were filming like Road Hard or something.
Oh, really?
He sat in your chair and did the show. And working with him, He's an incredible broadcaster. He's very, very good.
Great voice.
Like what everyone thinks of Jerry Springer, or what most people think, like, oh yeah, when
show.
It's a shit show. When I'm sick at school and I'm watching the show and all this craziness happening, and he became like a meme before memes were really anything. And yeah, you just think, okay, this guy's out of his mind. He just runs a shit show, but he's very, very smart and calculated.
Well, you know what always stuck out to me was he ended every show with the final thought. And it was he kind of, that was his way. Is there any way we can pull up one of them just to like hear just the way that he would conclude each show? It was almost like putting a button on like the chaos, being like, look, we just watched 2 lesbian hermaphrodites fight marsupials fight a conjoined twin couple that share a vagina, but only one of them has a boyfriend. And yeah, we watched them fight over like, the correct amount to Venmo someone back after you eat out together.
Right.
And then he would close it out and like look right in the camera, and it was like almost like a rabbi's sermon after, like he just found ways to relate it to what happened on stage and what was happening in the world.
It's
and it was way more poignant than I thought it was ever going to be.
Oh, let's hear
Here's
one.
one of them.
The more the object of our affection resists or appears to be unavailable, the more we want that person. Suddenly the chase becomes the charge, more exciting perhaps than actually getting the prize. It should be said that such efforts are rarely worthwhile, because even if you beat the odds, even if you wind up winning the heart of the one you didn't think you could have, the chances are the victory will be temporary at best, because fighting for someone's heart who appears out of reach might sound awfully romantic, but love only lasts not because you had to fight for the one you love, but because you didn't have to fight. It was there. Till next time, take care of yourself.
That's what I said to Stacey Mallon.
Yeah, he's talking to Stacey.
Back in the Kennedy Hall of North Hollywood High, 1981.
NoHo High.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, man. I'm from... All right. So
he hosted Springer for 27 seasons. Also, he was the 56th mayor of Cincinnati.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and his show was dubbed by TV Guide as the worst show in the history of television. But yes, I cut a clip of one of the times he's on a show, but this is from 2015. This is just him talking about the show.
Stand by. Sorry, man. I didn't have that ready.
What did they say his illness was?
Pancreatic cancer, I heard.
Oh, God.
I think that's what I heard.
Fuck, that shit moves so fast.
Yeah, this is the. I mean, he's 79, but it's really surprising.
Hey man, George is 79. He's clicking and ticking. And when you get a brief illness, it's
George your agent or George your
George my stepdad. I only got one George in my life. George. Yeah, he's clicking and ticking. He just had a prostate cancer scare, but he's in the clear. And he goes. Turns out it wasn't prostate cancer, so I can still fuck your mom without a condom. And then I was like, I just asked you what you wanted for lunch.
All right, I think we have it. By the way,
the only reason to do the show is because it's fun. I mean, I'm lucky, and I don't need to make a living anymore. So I just do things now that either are fun or like my politics, which I consider important. But it's one of those two categories. This is fun to do. If I go and have dinner with anybody, and we go and have dinner, and I'm going to say, what was your day like? And you'll say, it was a tough day at the office. Oh, a funny thing happened at the water cooler. Let me tell you what happened. And then they'll tell me, and we'll kind of laugh. Yeah, that was pretty funny. And then you'll say to me, Jerry, what was your day like? And I'll say, I had a guy who married his horse. So I'm always going to have the better story. What a job to have. Every day I go in, they're going to hand me something that is ludicrous.
It sounded to me like you're working 6 days a week or so.
Yeah.
And is it that just your ethic? I mean, is that just always how you've been? Or is it just
pretty much
make hay while the sun shines? Or what's the...
Honestly, it's, I've always kind of, I guess the term is workaholic, but it's always been fun jobs. So I just enjoy it. I can play golf a little bit, but it's not like I can't wait to play golf. And this is fun. So my joys in life now are... And I mean it, my, wife and grandson and daughter, I mean that, the grandson is the best thing in the world. So but if I'm not doing that, my enjoyment comes in the jobs I have. So that's why I do it.
Well, he'll be missed.
Man.
Yeah, he was a very decent guy.
What a job. I saw the Jerry Springer musical when I was studying abroad in London, and it was I mean, a hilarious shit show. It was like a musical version of the Jerry Springer Show.
Was it racist because it was musical?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to get Sheryl Crow. Someone's got to contact her and tell her she got correct course on her racist rants about music.
She should be ashamed of herself. Speaking of George, though, when you went to Leno's garage, did you tell Jay that you played him, and like what was his reaction?
No, I
what was that like? We never talked about it on the air, right?
Briefly, but not
Dr.
in
Phil
depth.
brought it up, but I want to hear it from
Dr.
Adam.
Phil brought it up.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh,
Well,
that's right.
I had told him when I did a show with him at Flappers in Burbank about 2 weeks maybe after the show premiered, Pam and Tommy, and my mom was like, "You got to tell him that you played him." I was like, "He doesn't give a fuck." And then I'm literally walking down the hallway through the kitchen into the green room at Flappers, and he just looks up and goes, "Oh, it's the guy who played me on TV." Wow. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess he saw it." And then I was like, "Shit, I'm sorry. Was it bad? I'll move back to Seattle if you didn't like it." He's like, "No, I heard it was good. I didn't watch it. I heard it was grounded. I'm not going to watch it. I heard it was good. It wasn't cartoony is what I thought. It was good. And then we just talked comedy for a while, and he was real, obviously, like, generous. That's a guy, I mean, you guys know, but like that was my first time actually conversing with him in a intimate environment where it was like just he and I. And
at the shop or at
I'm sorry, at Flappers, and he just told Comedy Store stories for a day. But cut to the shop, I mean, you know, he comes out. This is his face. I mean, he looks 20 years younger, and he comes out still a little hobble, you know, just from his spill that he'd taken, I think, a few maybe weeks or days prior to that. Couldn't have been more gracious, couldn't have been more kind. I mean, not only just, he could have just taken us around and let us ask questions, which, you know, George and my mom was also very on point with that and just so curious and whatever. But he went out of his way to like tell stories from every little moment. I mean, we could have been there for 3 hours. It was about an hour and change. But, and then, you know, we asked a lot of fun questions and yeah, it was, I didn't realize how big it was. I mean, that's what she said, but it was just so, there were so many different pockets to the garage where it was like, I mean, from the tank to the first LA fire truck to like, I think I talked about this last time I was on, but like this one old, I think, car from the 40s or 50s that had the little, it was called the chaperone seat. I think I was telling you that like was there, for you know, dads that wanted to come along when a guy could take his daughter off. I'm sure Malin had one, you know.
It's vast.
Yeah,
it keeps going.
It was enormous, and the history of it, and the way, how cool was it? He was saying that people now, you know, people want to give me their car, they want to give me a vehicle that they can, you know, put in there. It's almost like a museum in a way, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. People get a little mired in the like, what is that collection worth? What they really should be asking is, what is 80,000 square feet of warehouse worth?
Sure.
Because that collection is in a warehouse. Warehouses are super fucking expensive in that like Burbank area. Yeah. And he just keeps adding them on and buying them up. And I can tell you as a guy who's owned a few warehouses, they used to be cheap. They ain't cheap anymore. I mean, it's the real estate. I mean, the cars are worth a fortune, obviously, but do not sleep on that real estate. That is, I mean, he may have 80 or 100,000 square feet in there by now. It's insane how valuable that will be to some, you know, businesses and whatever in the future.
Yeah, when we take off out of Burbank Airport, some like Aug's like, oh, there's Jay's shop on the left. And I'll look. Yeah. And I'll look forward again. Then 5 seconds later, I look, and it's still there.
The point is, Jerry Springer's going to be missed.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And the stories for days at Jay's garage with every automobile. It was like, oh, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger's favorite Lamborghini right here. Johnny Carson's dad actually gave me this Rolls Royce right here. Oh, and this steam engine is where Adam Carolla had his first wet dream.
So you shared,
during the day.
You shared stories with you hanging with Jay Leno, Paul McCartney. The Rock has hit you up, and you've done stuff with him. Like, who's left, man? I mean,
quite a few.
Yeah,
Tom Skerritt, Mike Lindell.
Mike Lindell.
Yeah, I don't know. If you were to ask, well, I'll tell you if you want to know who I would love. Like, people ask, I guess, like, I mean, comedically, I've gotten to share stages with insane people, but acting-wise, I mean, Hanks, I would love to act across. Hanks or Sam Rockwell or fucking...
Chet Hanks or
you're talking about Chet, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it could have. Some people are thinking Tom.
Yeah, no. Chet's got a cool, I think, workout vlog now that I'd love to just spot him if that was possible.
Let's do a couple more stories.
Sure. Okay. So also, as we record this, the Milwaukee Bucks have been eliminated from the NBA playoffs. They're number 1 seed. They got ousted by the number 8 seed, the Miami Heat.
We
Jimmy
always
buckets.
Yes.
We don't like it here when in LA or New York or something, but in Milwaukee, that's all they got. They got that, and they have a statue of the Fonz, which is abnormally small.
Yeah.
And Henry Winker's not even a large man. You could have gone full
5'7",
scale and
maybe.
just made, but you had to make a 4'11" version of him, which is now also kind of confusing because once you get too close to the actual size, then it seems weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
So-
all they have.
So Giannis Antetokounmpo. who,
Well done.
Yeah, he's a great player. Obviously, he did a press conference after the game that they just lost, and he's usually very stoic and very good speaking to reporters, but he got frustrated.
Well, I mean, we've seen his frustration in the last couple years. I mean, him fucking throwing down the ladder, pregame. Which, by the way, I mean, I don't, fault. That was crazy. There's people around, but like he's starting to become more of not a villain, but like. These guys that kind of stay silent and just are like, I'm all about just playing back. But it's like, fuck, man, the pressures. He's even said that he doesn't like being like all the glitz and glam that comes with being a superstar. It's
This might be why he's staying in Milwaukee. I don't know.
Well, let's hear. Are we hearing a clip?
Yeah. So in this clip, he gets asked a question, and this clip went viral about how he answered it. So
every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to
pause it real quick.
take care of.
Sorry, the question was, do you think this season
would you be a panda or a little girl growing up in China? Yeah.
Yeah. The question is, do you view this season as a failure?
Mm-hmm.
Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success, And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it, Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me. No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why are you asking me that question?
Yeah, good.
It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. There's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year somebody else is gonna win. Simple as that. We're gonna come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball. And hopefully we can win a championship. So 50 years from 1971 to 2021 that we didn't win a championship, it was 50 years of failures? No, it was not. It was steps to it, and we were able to win one. Hopefully we can win another one. Sorry that I didn't want to make it personal because you asked me the same question last year, and last year I was in the right mind space to answer the question back. Yeah. But I remember.
Did you just give MySpace a plug? Yeah, all right, I love this clip. Can I say something real quick? I'm so fucking tired of the same old post-game bullshit, rigmarole. I'd rather have a 5-year-old fat kid up there going, "Why'd you lose?" while he's fucking going down deep throating a fruit by the foot. It's also like these guys only have access to these places. That's why we put them up on this pedestal of like, man, these post-game analysts and reporters, they fucking know more than we do. It's just like when they're like, I was in the locker room talking to LeBron. I was on the court talking to Luka. We're like 2 years away from them being like, I was in the showers talking to all the Sacramento Kings, and when I looked down, I saw all their big black soapy cocks pointing in one direction towards the championship. We'll be right back, Dan. Back to you in the studio.
That would help ratings. Absolutely.
Oh man, what a great poignant answer by.
So
Giannis.
how's the internet divided, right? Because everyone does love the way he answered it, and like, yeah, exactly, poignant. It was good, but other people are like, no. It was a failure. You're trying to win a championship and you didn't. So it's
well, that's a stupid sports fan take. In my opinion, I feel like it's like I don't know. There's the take of like you get paid all this money, you're that good, you should be able to carry the team. But it's like, man, fucking like look, you're also playing another unbelievable NBA team with superstars and it's just like I
had a different takeaway.
Well, I guess it is the Adam Carolla show.
No, I just think. I don't know. For me, the thing that I found compelling and interesting about that clip is he has such a strong accent.
Yeah.
And I talked to my son years ago. That's how you know my son's not a racist. I said to him, Lord knows I've tried, but it's not taken. It's not taken because
I've signed him up for all the music classes in Olympia.
That's right. 5 years ago, he's telling me about his favorite player, and he's talking about this guy. I don't know who he was.
Giannis.
You know, Giannis, and he's like, he can take off from the free throw.
He's incredible.
And dunk, and he's long, and but he moves. You know.
Yep.
And I kept saying to him, black guy, and he's like, no, Greek, and I go, okay, Greek guy. And he goes, yeah, but man, this guy dominates in the paint. Then he can drain the three. And I was like, black guy? He's like, no, he's Greek. He's Greek.
Like,
but he keeps talking about his vertical and how he's dominating. And I was like, black guy though, right? And he goes, hell yeah, I guess he is black, but he's Greek. He's Greek.
Right.
You know, like he doesn't see it. He doesn't even think about
Good
it.
for him.
But when he was doing that press conference, he wasn't saying ask. He was saying axe.
Yeah.
But now that's a black thing, but it's not a Greek thing. Is it?
I don't think it's a Greek thing. I think it was a mix of, it was definitely a Greek accent.
Did we give him his axe when he moved here?
I think just hanging in the,
I don't know, Dawson? Feels like somebody else want to take this one?
Well, if it's not Greek, like if the Greek tycoon or Yorba, who was the Anthony Quinn? What was his
Medicine
character?
Woman? Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman?
No, Anthony Quinn played the Great Greek or something. There's some sort of, but it's not a Greek thing.
Sure.
But his accent hasn't really been tampered with too much.
Right.
But ask
Zorba.
Zorba the Greek. Is that Anthony Quinn?
Nice.
All right. Find him saying ask. Let's listen to what Anthony Quinn sounded like as Zorba the Greek. But I don't think that's a Greek thing. I think that's a United States thing that we may have grafted on.
He could have picked it up.
Picked it up.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be the same way. Like, I remember when I studied abroad in London, I'd have friends that were out there that came back to the States, and they would say, you know, they'd have a drink, and they go, hey, you guys, can I get a pint of Miller Lite? And they're like yeah, you're just, you know, and then they go, oh, thanks, cheers.
Right.
And I was like, no, dude.
Yeah.
You're from Temecula. Stop saying cheers. That's a Brit thing. You know, people like to bring back some of
pick
the.
it up, yeah.
Everyone's done it. You know,
I do.
You've done it for what?
Probably when I went to London for a little bit. I'm sure I said pint afterwards. I like saying
It does
pint,
feel
though.
good, yeah.
It does.
If you're Johnny Depp,
Heartbeat.
a mega pint.
That's right.
Is it true you hit Amber with a mega pint of wine and he was just like, mega pint? I mean, yeah, I hit her, but mega pint? I hit her with a DVD of chocolate.
You know, it strikes me when you're good looking and you're a little mysterious, people give you all day to answer a question. But when you have like 3 chins and you're chubby, you're balding, people are like, come on, come on. Get
to it.
They have no patience for you and your answer because he would just sit back in that whole court. It took him 20 minutes to answer certain questions and everyone was enthralled.
They're hanging on the silence.
Just hanging on it. But if he were fat and dumpy and balding, people are like, hey, chubby, let's go. We're fucking breaking for lunch in 20 minutes. Let's get it. Shit out an answer, would you?
Johnny Depp on the stand. Yeah. So what, where do you think the poop was in the bed, Mr. Depp? Well, that day we got new pillows from Bed Bath & Beyond. And when I bought them, there was no diarrhea on them. And then when I woke up, there was covered in diarrhea. What was the question? But then Jared Fogle, you know, as soon as he gets up there, you know, where'd you put your fingers, you fat fuck? And he's like, I just like turkey subs. Prove it.
Can we hear
Eat a Subway that doesn't, eat a sandwich not like a little cock, you fucking freak. I don't know. I didn't watch the trial.
Did you
went like that?
I'm paraphrasing, yeah.
Do we find any Zorba the Greek? And what did
Is this
We're
a
looking for him
cartoon?
saying ask.
Yeah. This is a difficult mission.
Let's just see if Anthony Quinn got his Greek down. That's all I want.
Oh yeah. Wait, is this the kid from Bad News Bears?
This is all we got.
The extraordinary is as rare in motion pictures as it is in life.
Zorba.
Jesus.
Boy, there's just really everything on YouTube, huh?
Yeah.
Yet there is no better word for Anthony Quinn in the role he was born to play, Zorba the Greek.
Boy, the movie trailer guys just don't hit back
Remember
in the day,
this.
huh?
If a woman sleeps alone, it puts a shame on all men. God has a very big heart, but there is one sin he will not forgive. If a woman calls a man to her bed and he will not go.
Everything about the film and
basketball?
the man is different.
That's Zorba the Greek.
When Zorba talks, you listen.
I have done things for my country that would make your hair stand. I have killed, burned villages, raped women.
When Zorba drinks,
just like Giannis.
You taste it.
Jesus.
Oh.
When Zorba loves, you feel it. Because this is a man who devours life as if it were a feast. A man who never puts off till tomorrow what he can enjoy today. Here is his world. Sea-bathed, sun-washed Greece. Its sights, its sounds, its music, its dancing. Above all, here are its people. As proud as the silent village beauty whose desires only Zorba understood.
And they hate her because they cannot have her. Only one man here.
All right.
I think we found our new Bud Light spokesman.
Yeah, Zorba.
Zorba, put him on the can.
That's all. That's the only Greek thing I've never seen the movie. I just remember
the commercial.
Zorba the Greek.
Yikes.
And that's all I got.
I'll put it in the queue.
My head, it's weird how the brain works, right? Like Anthony Quinn. Like I don't really know who Anthony Quinn is. I have a vague recollection, and you can look this one up, Ben. I think Anthony Quinn had a kid when he was like 85. Like Tony Randall from The Odd Couple. There's a sort of a Hall of Fame of old dudes who didn't pull out.
Sure.
I think Anthony Quinn had a kid when he was like 83 years old or something. And I think Tony Randall had a kid when he was like 86 or something. There's a couple of weird actors that knock somebody up into their 80s.
That's so fucking crazy. When I was 10, my friend's dad was 80, which is so like who hits 70 and goes, I'm going to start a family.
Right.
I want my kid's first words to be somebody call 911.
Yeah. The
on you, though.
the drawstring broke on his cat gut condom. He probably's telling that to his old friends.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Anthony Quinn was born in 1915. Born in 1915. Zorba had a child in 1996.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck,
84 years of age.
Is it almost like
I don't think is that 84? I don't think it's 81, right.
You know the way like a woman, if she waits too late to have a baby, right, there can be complications. More problems can arise if you wait later in life. Is it the same with like a man's sperm? Like if you're having a kid at 86, is it like, full on down? Like
I got my wrestling name. Dusty Load.
Wow. Yeah. I'd buy that pay-per-view event. Dusty Load.
It's coming off the turnbuckle.
Versus Suckle Tits.
His whole thing would give people pink eye.
Oh, my God.
He'd give him the pink stink.
And
he'd be like, yeah, my signature move of Dusty Load would be the pink eye.
Yeah.
All right. Now all we need is Tony Randall and what the fuck year he had a kid. So Zorba.
Keep on him saying ask too.
All right, let's bring home the news because we got Kat Timpf out there waiting to join. But I need Tony Randall because Adam's going to want to know that
Can't sleep tonight without it.
Tony Randall from The Odd Couple. 86 are we seeing for Randall, or is that for Zorba?
No, Zorba's 84, right?
Well, it says 81, and then now it says 86 is what they're looking for. Tony Randall did 78.
And, Tony Randall they never had children. There's a legacy in his mind when he was married to his second wife, Heather, in 95.
Tony Randall never had kids? I can't be wrong about something. He had to have a late kid. That's what we'll find out. So you're saying Anthony Quinn had a kid at 86. Is that what you're saying? Okay. So 80 goddamn 6 years old.
It's too old.
And you had a kid. So Jerry Springer's dead at 79. What if I told him in 17 years? Oh, no, sorry, in 7 years.
Oh.
You'll have a kid.
Oh, my
Imagine
God.
one of your friends in 8th grade. It's like, yeah, my dad, he's 100.
Yes. Craze. That's what it'd be. But they never make it to 100. All right, last call for Tony Randall. There's something. It's in my head, so it's got to be somewhere. But
Is that too old to have a kid, Dr. Phil?
Well, I think so we were trying to figure out, is there some sort of criteria or I guess a data graph chart that shows at what age you have a kid, if something will happen or not happen. And I Googled it right here. I should have known that off the top of my head, but fuck my ass, as Mr. Pygot Adams' wood teacher said when he cut his thumb off. Sorry to bring it up. TMI YOLO. We'll be right back. We'll keep her right here. So if you have a baby at 50 and you're a man, your son will be a Jew. If you have a baby at 60, your son will be gay. And if you have a kid at 80 and you're a guy and the woman is 90, they'll be Jeff Bezos.
Ah.
All right. We won't be right back. Tony Randall had a kid. I don't know why you do this at 68 and then remove the number, though, Ben. Did he have a kid?
Because I'm trying to confirm. Sorry.
Oh, okay. 68. Well, look, 68 is fucking old to have a kid.
It is.
But I still think there's older. I still think he went older. We'll have to figure this out one day. All right, let me...
I mean, I'm 40. How many years do you think I got to wait till we have kids?
You got a rear view mirror? All right. Read the Room's the name of the special. 78. Chris, what's it like for you to sit next to someone who's smarter than the internet? Literally smarter than the internet.
Yeah. Truly.
Can you think of that?
In the internet's defense, I'm reading on the internet the answer here.
But it still don't... Even when the internet tells me he's 68,
Yeah.
I go, feels old. I know something.
That's a great show, Adam versus the Internet.
Ooh.
Has that been pitched?
No.
All right.
But it should.
Well, that's every Adam Carolla show.
So Tony Randall had a kid at 78, which is pretty long, pretty far down the road. Read the Room. That's the name of the special on YouTube.
Check
with
it out.
Adam Ray.
Thanks, baby.
And live shows everywhere. So go to adamraycomedy.com for all the live shows as well. Kat Timpf from Gutfeld is going to join me right after this. Let me tell you about Angie. Angie's List is now Angie, and they've made it easier than ever to get all your home projects done right. I use Angie. Yep, Adam, you can do most everything Angie can do. True, but I'm busy, and I travel, and I have a schedule. So I'll let Angie do a lot of the stuff I don't have time to do, or it doesn't make sense to do. 20 plus years of home service experience, and they're combined with the new tools to simplify the entire process. So make it easy. On the Angie app, just answer a few questions. They'll handle the rest. See ratings and reviews, compare quotes from local pros, and connect instantly. Cross items off the to-do list in just a few taps. Whether it's routine maintenance or a dream remod, well, Angie makes it easy. Right, Dawson?
Get your next project done right with the help of a pro from Angie. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com. Take it away.
I'll let the door come to a close. All right, there it is. Well, we have a New York Times best-selling author on the show, Kat Timpf. The book, you can't joke about that, Why Everything is Funny, Nothing is Sacred, and we're all in this together. We'll get to the title and what brought that on. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I just got the call. It's sitting in your studio that I'm number 3 this week.
That's pretty exciting. And as we were talking about off the air, New York Times has a special algorithm that does not really favor folks that show up on Fox News.
I don't understand how the algorithm works. This is my first book. I do know that I also found out this week that for last week I was number 1 on Amazon. So I sold the most books on Amazon, but I'm number 3 on New York Times. And I also was on number 1 in Barnes & Noble for several days last week.
Which is great. Oh, well, I'll tell you how it works. You sit around across from Gutfeld for too long. But look, making the list, the last time I had a shot at the New York Times bestselling list, I sold more units than many of the people that were ahead of me on the list, except for I didn't make the list. So there's an algorithm there. And it kind of speaks to a bigger picture, which is whether it's the CIA or the FBI or the school unions or Fauci or something. There's some fudging.
It's Fauci.
Well, what I mean is like, can we just use the numbers, have the numbers, and act accordingly? Or does everyone have to kind of stir the pot in their own direction?
Yeah, it's also just in general, even apart from the book thing, the fact that people think Fox News is like this monolith, when really there's different people there who think different things from each other.
100%.
And that people don't understand that.
Oh, you will if you go do it, because you go, I mean, I get it where they go, oh, you got to go on to Tucker, and we can get into that, or Gutfeld, and like echo their Fox talking points.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, what talking points?
What talking points?
I mean, I've done Gutfeld with you.
Yeah.
He comes in, you sit down, we bring up subjects, and everyone has a different take on them.
Yeah.
Now, I think the part that would sort of unify our takes is they're fucking sane. So we don't think drag queen story hour is a good idea, but it's not because we're on Fox. It's kind of because we're sane.
See, I would love a drag queen to read me a story, but yeah. I also just don't, I think that that's not a good use of tax dollars probably in schools also. The stuff that is being taught in schools, that just blows my mind. I don't even have a kid. And man, if I did, I'd be like, we gotta move.
So how did you become this? Like, where did you start off and what was the plan? 'Cause you're sort of unlikely.
Yeah.
Like an unlikely author, comedian.
Yeah, not sort of, definitely. Yeah, so I write about it a little bit in the book, but I worked at Boston Market, was my first job out of college here in LA. The one in West LA, it's closed down now. And I had gotten into Columbia Journalism School, and it was my dream to go to the school. And I was so excited. I was enrolled. I had my internship at Fox, and I was going to do that, use the stipend I had for the internship, and I was going to move in with my college boyfriend for 2 weeks. Then we were going to break up, and I was going to go to Columbia. Then I decided I didn't want to take out an $80,000 loan to go to journalism school because I would never be able to pay that back. So I just basically non-consensually moved in with the boyfriend by not going anywhere. But then we broke up. I had to move in a horrible apartment. I didn't have any money. I was waiting tables, still interning. I had a traffic reporting job. Things were really tough. And I started doing stand-up comedy during that time because talking about how horrible my life was, I got scabies in the same week that my cat got fleas, and then I lost my apartment that week, and I slept on a yoga mat because I didn't have a bed. And actually being able to laugh at that, it made those things that were making me feel powerless, it gave me some power over those things. And it became a source of connection for me with those around me. And now all that dark stuff, you're not supposed to joke about that stuff. And that's the stuff that I think needs that kind of healing power the most.
It's interesting when people say gain control over something that was depressing them or oppressing them or whatever. I've just never thought in those terms. I've never really had that thought, but I guess it's important. And I've never really thought about it. I was sort of my situation sucks, or my construction foreman's an asshole.
Yeah.
My stepmom doesn't like me, and that's just that.
Yeah.
I never really thought about turning it into comedy and like trying to gain some sort of control.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm not a religious person. So I think that being able to create from what I feel like is destroying me inside actually provides meaning to those experiences for me. And I just, I don't get, even in general, how we've gotten this idea that the people who are the ones who want to police speech and they're obsessed with so-called sensitivity are the actual sensitive ones, because they're not.
Well, you're 100% correct. I was thinking about this today, and then maybe it'll apply here or not. But I was thinking about the concept that's only a couple of years old, where it's like, if you got an Uber driver, you're not allowed to ask them where they're from if they have an accent. And then I would always think, but isn't that rude? Like, shouldn't you be inquiring about this person and their life and their culture and where they came from? And then it's like, and you're not allowed to put a sombrero on because that's cultural appropriation and so on and so forth. And then I realized, is any of this wrong, or the people telling you it's wrong just wanting to control and tell you it's wrong? Because there's no other logical reason you couldn't ask your Uber driver what part of the world they were from if they had a different accent.
Well, yeah, because actually what you're doing there is you're actually isolating the Uber driver because they have an accent.
Right.
I mean, I went through this, not obviously, I'm extremely American. I went when my mom died, and I went through a rough stretch, actually. My mom died, my grandma died, and the guy that I thought I was going to marry, different guy, broke up with me in front of my dad at Coney Island. Things were tough. So right before I started working at Fox, like 3 days before. But people would be so scared of saying the wrong thing in front of me that I felt like nobody could talk to me at all. They would be like, "Oh, and I'm like, dude, like, you're not gonna, nothing you say can re-kill her. She's already dead. So and now I feel super isolated, right? And I think it's being sensitive and having feelings is one thing. Like, I'm a chick. I'm an emotional person. I have feelings. I share my feelings. I love to share my feelings. But there's a difference between sharing your feelings because you want to share your feelings and trying to use your feelings as a means, like you said, to control other people or shut down a conversation.
Yeah, I do. I feel like whether it was Gavin Newsom shutting down parks or beaches, I was like, are you actually trying to do something, or are you just fucking drunk with power? Because I feel like me explaining to you that you can't talk to the Uber drivers, me just drunk with power. That has nothing to do with sanity. And by the way, these are indicators that you shouldn't listen to these people.
Totally.
Because first things first, your default setting should be, what do I give a shit for? Like, you want to talk to your Uber driver, then go talk to your Uber driver. And if you want to put a sombrero on and talk to your Uber driver, then knock yourself out. I don't give a fuck.
And aren't these
but
all,
the second you're so concerned about what my pronouns are or how to address you, it's like, wait a minute, is this constructive? Are you, I'll tell somebody, hey, if you move to Arizona, you should tint your car windows.
Yeah, because it's hot. Because it gets hot.
It's going to fuck up your upholstery.
Exactly.
But I'm not telling you to walk in a circle around every light post so you won't get COVID. That's just me imposing shit on you, which I fucking can't stand. And I'm scared that so many people sort of imbibe it. They're like, oh, I shouldn't talk to my Uber driver. They should just go fuck off.
Yeah, so now all these Uber drivers, like, you're saying every Uber driver from all these different cultures, and that they don't want to be asked where they're from. So that's the difference between sensitivity and just straight up arrogance. Also, like, know better. Like, no, that then you're. I happen to believe that more communication is better. And if we want to understand each other and get along, then we actually have to be able to express ourselves and talk to each other.
Agreed. And the worst thing you can do with an Uber driver is completely ignore them for the journey.
Yeah.
If you're trying to include them.
Right.
And make them feel like human beings.
Right.
And every single conversation I've ever had with an Uber driver about where they're from, no one ever got offended.
Yeah.
They were
Get out of my car.
happy to tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you end up, you don't go to journalism school.
No.
You end up at Fox on an internship.
So I had an internship, and then after that disaster in LA, I mean, things got, I had to move in with this family of this bartender guy I was only sort of seeing at my California Pete's Kitchen job. I had to be like, we're not together, just gonna need a place to live. This was a disaster. I ended up getting a job at the Washington Times because I did an internship there. So I moved to DC. I kept doing stand-up comedy. And then I moved to Campus Reform and they wanted somebody that they wanted to cut, write and then try to get on TV. So I was like, I want to be on TV. I want to do this. This will be cool. And I was, reporting on a lot of the crazy stuff on college campuses going back, like a decade ago now. So even my husband, you remember my husband, Cam,
Sure.
He's like, you have to keep talking about this stuff because you were talking about it years ago and a lot of people weren't. So it seems boring to you, but it's even worse than it was. So, but anyway, I got on Fox a few times, but I was still living in DC. So what they did is they started having me on for other things. What they really wanted was like the millennial perspective on Obamacare. I remember I did that segment a lot. And they'd email me and they'd say, hey, are you in New York this weekend? I'd say, I sure am. And I'd walk to the bus station in DC and get on the bus and I'd go to New York and I'd do that. And I ended up moving to New York, just being like, I want to be, less time on the bus and, kind of telecommute. And I had a video that went viral because I was at a feminist conference where I was interviewing people like, what does feminism mean to you? And people were like, oh, she works at Campus Reform, don't talk to her. People were physically blocking me from talking. So the camera guy keeps rolling. Obviously, Fox News loves that video, right? Mm-hmm. That's the first time Gutfeld saw me. So he had me on Red Eye, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, so your politics, and I always feel like I have to explain this to people all the time. I grew up with super liberal family members, super liberal.
Yeah.
And I kind of noticed that they were wrong about a lot of stuff and, food stamps and welfare recipients and sort of trying to get stuff from the government and then complaining about the government the whole time and sort of villainizing anyone who ran an apartment building or had some commercial real estate or something. And I kind of watched it. I was like, you guys are broke and you're miserable. And then you hate the government, but my grandmother worked for the VA and my mom hated the government, but she took welfare, and I was like, you guys seem really or unprosperous and super angry all the time. But I still sort of left the house with a kind of general California kind of liberal mentality because it's like, yeah, of course, you hate racism and gay rights and so pot should be legal. Like I had all that stuff in my head. I never really changed, but the landscape's gone so nuts around me that I feel that people think I've changed, but I really haven't. But I don't know if that is a journey that you went on or if you've changed or how you started.
So I've always been a libertarian. So I'm very libertarian. The smallest government. I don't think the government does a very good job of solving problems. Whenever people say, well, what about this or this or this issue? I don't think the government does a good job at solving any of those.
Yes.
I haven't changed, right? I've always voted third party, or as everybody says, I throw my vote away, whatever. I always have. I've always been this way. I've lost at least one friend, actually, because of Trump. Because it no longer was acceptable for me to vote third party because Trump was dangerous. Mm-hmm. And it got to the point where this friend was like calling me out in group settings about it. And it became exhausting to be around this person. It was a very close friend of mine for a long time. And we don't speak anymore. Even though I didn't change, it suddenly wasn't acceptable.
Right. And there's also, I was hearkening back on a conversation I had with a very leftist sort of friend that I have. There's also a kind of a thing where they do not understand what they sound like. Like this person said, look, I get it. We're different politically. I care about the kids in Baltimore not freezing in their classrooms, and you don't care. And I understand that. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I know. That drives me so fucking insane.
I want the kids from Baltimore to have school choice, you fucking idiot. Yes, I would care if they were freezing in their classroom. I know. I get it. You don't care about gays or blacks or Mexicans. Or
you want people to die.
Right.
It's always that. You want people to die.
Yeah, you won't wear a mask on an airplane because you don't like Nana. And it's like, first off, what do you have, a 10-cent brain? Like how immature is even that thought?
I can't handle that. And that's, I write about this a lot in my book about all conversations are good that are well-intentioned. That's not well-intentioned. I don't know if they really believe it or if they realize how effective it is in shutting down a conversation. Because most people, if you say you're a racist or you're homophobic or you're transphobic or you're sexist, that person stops talking, or they're like, I'm so sorry. I don't know. I deeply apologize. I regret the error. I will do the work. And that's been effective for people. But how do you really think that everyone in the country who doesn't vote Democrat doesn't care if kids are hungry or doesn't care if people die? That is it's just an idiotic worldview to have.
It's insulting. But it's insulting to me, but it's insulting to the person that says it too, because you seem like such a simpleton. Like if that's your ability to calculate things, that I don't care about kids in Baltimore.
Yes.
And you do, even though you don't do anything.
Yeah, what are you doing for the kids in Baltimore?
Well,
what are you doing?
You would vote Democrat so that they can help. Oh, wait a minute. It's a supermajority in Baltimore.
And they stay in
Democrat.
these bad schools, and there's no competition and no reason for the schools to get any better. Yeah, it comes up with everything, though. It's like, I'm very, very, very pro Second Amendment, right? People, you don't care about shootings. That's it. That's it.
You hate those kids.
Yes. I mean, do you want to talk about it with me or not? Because does that make you feel good? I think with some people too, it's that rush of power that they get. I don't know, because you can't possibly see the world that way. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm giving people too much credit. Maybe they are that stupid and they really think that half the country doesn't care if kids die.
It's a kind of a thing. It's kind of like the Klan. It's like we think the Klan is swelling in numbers and on every corner, but it's like, who do you know is in the Klan?
I don't know anybody.
When is the last time you saw a rally or a march, like this thing that we never stop talking about? So what I believe the phenomenon is with who you're talking about, like, do you believe this?
Yeah.
Most of the people I know who won't go into the ocean say, because I don't want to be eaten by a shark.
Wow.
That's mostly.
Okay.
And that's their legitimate reason is sharks in the ocean. Now, it doesn't matter.
I also don't know anybody who's been eaten by a shark.
Right. And so Joe Biden says white supremacy is the biggest problem this country faces, except for we don't see it.
Right.
But in their world, it's like sharks in the ocean. It's there. It's scary. You cannot. And then they get into this retarded argument all the time where they go, you tell me sharks don't exist? And it's like, no.
No. It's like, of course it exists.
Everything
exists.
exists.
Of course there's racists. Of course there's sexists. But also, if you call everything that, then nothing is.
Right.
I write about a lot of different things in my book. But one of the things I write about is there was a study that shows across several different issues, there are just these massive gaps for all these different subgroups, even between what people actually believe and what they say they believe. We've all kind of created the wrong rules for talking to each other because we're all too afraid, but actually nobody would be upset, or most people wouldn't be upset. And it's so stupid because it's actually bringing us so much further apart than we really are on the inside.
Yeah, well, the whole reason, and it's kind of interesting, I mean, if you just sort of approach it almost biologically, everybody I know, and we don't have to, this part where you go like, you telling me there isn't a Klansman or that? No. Okay, I'm just saying, not saying these things don't exist, but as humans, universally, we want food, we want shelter, we want to take care of our loved ones, we want to be taken care of on occasion. I mean, we're biologically pretty fucking straightforward. It's like, I don't know anyone who doesn't like steak tacos.
Mm-hmm. I love steak tacos.
Good on you. A couple vegan outliers, but
yeah.
I don't know anyone who doesn't like a steak taco.
Even the vegan outliers are trying to replicate steak tacos.
Yes, and I don't know anyone that doesn't like, going to an amusement park on occasion or going to the beach and putting their feet in the water, not too far in because of the sharks. But what I'm saying is, it's like, we're pretty straightforward. It's like, we want a good school for our kids. We want a safe community to live in. You know, and we're all sort of universal on everything. Like, we hope that every child is raised in a great environment and doesn't become a criminal and doesn't drop out of school or whatever. So we go, all right, so we at least all have the same wants, needs, and hopes universally.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have to figure out the best way to go about it.
Yep.
And it's pretty doable. I don't think it's as undoable as we're making it, but we are going to have to listen to some common sense and then arrive in some place and agree on it. Like, if school choice helps young black kids in the inner city, then we need school choice.
Yes.
And, oh, well, wait a minute. Now there's a teachers union and they're wanting to weigh in on it, and they vote for the governor and they give money to the mayor. And it's like, all right, now you fucked up our experiment.
Right.
Because we all, okay, let's do this. We all agree we want kids to be educated.
Yes.
We all agree we want good schools, right? We all agree that for the least likely to get that education, we want it even more for them, the have-nots, the kids on the wrong side of tracks. Okay, good. We all have agreed on that. School choice and charter schools are effective with that. Now, then you raise your hand and someone goes, I heard about one where they were sodomizing kids. Yeah, okay. But I'm just saying, is it more effective on average than what we have now? And if the answer is yes, then that's what we're going to do. But you won't. But now the argument begins.
Yeah, it begins because I think that there's this sunken cost fallacy too, if you've gone so hard in one direction. That's why I think there's still people you see. I mean, I flew here. There's still people wearing the masks on the airplanes. There's still people who are, you know, they don't want to give it up because they went so hard in that direction. I think people should be able to say more commonly, just, I don't know. Or, you know, like nobody says that in politics. A lot of people in media don't say that. I mean, I don't really know about this topic. You know what I mean?
I know.
We'll never have that. But like, because there are things that are true and there are things that we can be helped by, but people, they get so into the power for the power's sake. And if they've already carved out this lane for themselves, then they don't want to give that up.
I have been calling Maxine Waters an insane person for 25 years. And the reason, remember, well, I don't know. You guys can look on the computer, Chris. Let's see. I did Bill Maher, Politically Incorrect, probably 1998, maybe 1999. And Maxine Waters was one of them. She's one of the nuttiest people in the government. But we were like backstage, and I was doing Loveline.
Of course.
And I was like hearing about all these kids and the pregnancy and young pregnancies, and I was like, God, we got to figure out a way to clean this up because we have a bunch of fucked up kids running around. So I was standing with Maxine Waters like backstage, and I said, have you heard about like the morning after pill and these kinds of things where it's not an abortion pill, but if the condom breaks, you can take this stuff. And I said to her, I think there's something you should get behind. Like, something your constituency could probably use this. Like, a lot of unwanted pregnancies in her district. You know, young women. So I was like, kind of explaining to her, like, here's something, and she was like, told me like the science was still out on it or whatever. She just like kind of brushed me off and tried to explain science or something, but she didn't really know. I sit with Dr. Drew every night. We discussed it in great nuance for many months.
Yeah.
And she was sort of acting like she knew about it, and she just blew me off.
She didn't want you to be right. She didn't want you to have something helpful to say.
She could have said, like, well, what is this?
Yeah.
Tell me more. How does it work?
Yeah.
And she just went, it's unsettled science, and sort of like walked away. And I thought, anyway, I was earning money on her being a fucking nut job because I got on the radio that night in 1998 and said Maxine Waters is an insane woman. But part of that was sitting across from her. But yes, why not just go, hey, what do you got? Sounds good. Or how's that work?
Yeah.
Inform me. I don't know everything.
Yes, absolutely. But now the stakes are so high because there's these people who run around saying words are violence. And that's so stupid for so many reasons. I mean, first of all, if words are violence, then you can be physically violent because violence is an acceptable response to violence. And, that just shuts down a conversation because then you're in a power position where, like, just because I'm talking to you now and letting you talk to me after you've committed violence against me, I'm so charitable and generous. I also don't understand how it's a progressive view because that is what humans did for most of our history. Like, caveman days for sure, but even like the Old West, someone says something bad about your mom, you have a shootout in the yard. Like that's not, how is that progressive? That's going way backwards. Now we're supposed to be these civilized humans who understand that words are words and words are responded to with words.
Yeah, no, most of this stuff is a sort of, well, as previously discussed with not being able to ask your Uber driver what country of origin they come from, it's the opposite of what we should be doing and what actual progress is. I was with Maxine Waters on Politically Incorrect in July of 2000. That was the day. So I'm coming up on my 23rd anniversary of calling her, I called her Aunt Esther from Sanford and Son, who was crazy Fred Sanford's crazy aunt. But so early money on her. But let's get back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about me? No.
How much gigging, I should say, are you doing off of Gutfeld? Are you going out and doing dates and doing things like that?
I am now. I'm doing Chicago actually on this upcoming Sunday night. I'm going to be in DC May 6th, and then there's more to be added after that. I used to do stand-up a lot. I haven't been doing the live stuff for a while, and I totally miss it, and I'm excited. I'm not exactly doing stand-up, but sort of. I'm doing, I'm going to have a slideshow of photos of some of the things that I talk about in the book, not the really gross stuff. And kind of talk about that, tell jokes, have someone on stage with me. It's going to be really fun. I'm really excited about it. The show has just been amazing. I mean, back when I was working Boston Market and with that boyfriend, I would watch Red Eye here in LA because I was on at midnight, and I was like, I would be so good on that show. And the boyfriend's brother told me, you're a cashier at Boston Market. So now I'm like, logically, like, he's right. There's no Boston Market to Fox News pipeline. That's just me. I'm the only one there.
Yeah. I used to love the Boston Market. You could go in there and get yourself some chicken. You could go in there and get some turkey, get some sweet potatoes. Like, it was basically Thanksgiving every day in that place.
It was. My coworkers, though, were some characters. I mean, these guys, they'd come to work on ecstasy, some of my coworkers.
Oh,
and I'm
really?
like, how is your job at Boston Market a fun place to be rolling right now? And one day the guy forgot to cut up the chicken for the next day's shift. So I'm the cashier, I'm in front of it, and I got to tell everybody, like, yes, I am aware that this is Boston Market, but we don't have chicken. But, the food's good, but it's, that was my first job out of college.
That's interesting because I used to listen to morning radio when I'd drive my truck, and I'd fit in so good there. Like, I could do that. And I don't know if everyone does that.
I had an internship at KFI, and I thought that too when I was there. I don't know if everybody does that or not.
But, first off, you got a dream.
Yeah.
Secondly, you do fit in nicely. Gutfeld, I've always liked him personally.
Yeah, me too.
Quite a bit. And I think he's a good dude. And I sort of have this theory that he's in a weird way, and I don't know if you have any Tucker Carlson thoughts, but I always tell everyone about Tucker Carlson. He's kind of a writer. He's not really a performer, even though he delivers his own stuff well. But Greg always felt me like more of a thinker and more of a writer. I know it's his background.
Yeah, it is his background. That was my background too. I mean, I was a columnist at National Review for almost 6 years. I was an English major, and I was definitely always more of a writer, but I'm a performer too. And Greg is definitely also a writer. I think that helps, having something that you want to say rather than just, hello, I'd like to be on TV.
Yes, I totally concur. And I've done the show a few times, and it's like super relaxed.
Yeah, it's like a hang.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the kind of, I remember when I did Ellen's show many years ago, it's like the segment producer like kept coming in the room, go, you're not going to talk about this or you're going to talk about that. Like, don't talk about this. And it was like, why can't we just talk? You know? And it is something that has been done a lot, and it doesn't really happen on Gutfeld. You just sort of show up. I didn't even know if I knew what we were talking about that day. Yeah, I always prepare, but it's also like you don't really know where the conversation is going to go. So I'll prepare these things to say, and it's not always what I actually end up saying, because it could go in some random direction. Often fecal matter direction when Greg is involved. And it's when people, I mean, we've had Marianne Williamson on the show, but we've also had Roseanne on the show. I mean, it's a place where people come, they can talk, they can hang out, and we have fun too when we do it. Yeah. I was just thinking the other day how much I hated Marianne Williamson. I think her voice is hypnotizing. I'm not going to lie. Because when she was on the show, I was like, I totally get it. Like, I would do your whatever. Again, I know nothing about it. I'm one of these people who I don't really have any concrete beliefs in any sort of higher power. Some people like God. Some people like the crystals. Some people like... I remember she was on this show and she did a thing that is my least favorite quality in a person. But that is a bold statement. What is it? But it's nothing. What is it? But for me, it's everything. Won't answer a hypothetical question. Oh. I hate those people. Yeah. I hate a non-answer. You are cosmically compelled to answer a hypothetical question. Her of all people, too. I don't understand why she wouldn't do a hypothetical. Isn't she supposed to exist on this like spiritual other plane? You're right. Her entire life is hypothetical. That's what I thought. She may not even be here. That's what I thought. That shocks me. Hypothetical. Yeah. How boring if you only can talk about what we absolutely know for sure is going to happen and happening now. Yeah. I found her sort of underwhelming. I mean, it was interesting. She was on, it was like me and her, and I get who else, but I know Jimmy Fallon was on at the same time. And that's what's so crazy about the Gutfeld show is who would put Marianne Williamson and Jimmy Fallon and me in the same room? Jimmy's a comedian. Yeah, the comedian. I mean, we had another show where Dr. Carl Hart, the heroin Columbia professor, was on, but then also I was on, and Harris Faulkner and like Kill Me to host Fox and Friends. I mean, you would never see like the whatever 5 people that are in a room talk to each other than you can on the show. I think that's, variety, spice of life, as they say. And I like all the different opinions. And once again, they're not spoon-fed to anybody. No. You just show up and you give your opinion. Yeah, absolutely. I love people like, who are Kat's writers? I'm like, are you joking? I mean, I all my own stuff. I mean, and also some of the stuff that I've said on that show, I'm like, you think that Fox is like, yeah, you should talk about this breakup, or you should talk about this ostomy bag that you had. That nobody would ever tell me to talk about any of this stuff. You can say whatever you want. And that's the other thing. It's like, I have this platform, which is awesome. And I can talk about whatever I want. And there are all of these different varying viewpoints. And it's not this monolith that people think it's like this monolith boogeyman where I'm at a party and people are like, what do you do for a living? Sometimes I'm just like, porn. Because it's less pornography, far less controversial than saying that I work at Fox News. I've done that. I really have. Because I don't want to get into a whole, Fox, blah, blah, blah. Like, don't you work at a bank? You know what I mean? Like, yes. Like, what is going on? I don't know, but it's interesting and a little depressing sort of simultaneously. And also always insulting. Always insulting. It's like you go over to Fox so you can hammer checks and echo their talking points. Like, I don't get paid. No, yeah. I don't get, at least you get paid. Yeah, I do. I don't get paid, and they give me no talking points. That's what's so crazy. They think you go there and they hand you the talking points, But again, I think that's why a main reason why I wrote this book is I think that's really what we're missing is open communication and candid and speech and humor. And I really talk. I mean, Guy Benson, who works at Fox, he read the book and interviewed me about it. And he said, some of this, I was like, she's really going to put that out there for the world to read. And I did, because I don't want to just walk the walk in terms of we can talk about everything. I want to share some of my most embarrassing, grossest, humiliating. I rehash some of my own scandals
to show that I really do mean it, that we can joke about everything and we should be talking about everything, and that there's no limits for how we can connect with each other if we do it.
Well, the name of the book, Kat Timpf, You Can't Joke About That. Go get it. And I'll see if we can get it from number 3 to number
That'd
1
be great.
on the New York Times bestseller list, which would be an awesome thumb in their eye. Kat, I will see you next. Oh God, I think I'm doing Gutfeld in about 5 or 6 weeks or something out.
See you then.
So we look forward to seeing you then. You can go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. So, yeah, I'll be in New York May 26th and 27th at Sony Hall, which is new. I haven't been there yet, but it sounds interesting. And dates all over the place. And until next time, it's Adam for Kat and Adam Ray saying mahalo.
Make sure you get a